kinds of low bids on like all the collections themselves. But really, we're like, hey, listen, it's not the right time to give out bot. Instead, what we need to do is we need to get this global bidding feature so we can get real liquidity for these NFT collections. Because really, people setting the floor at some crazy high amounts that they're not going to get bought at, they can just keep pricing each other up on the floor, and there'll be no sales or no volume. There's no volume, no sales, there's no liquidity. It doesn't matter what you set the floor at. I think everyone's looking at the floor. They're kind of missing the bigger picture. I think a lot of people have some misconceptions of what really is happening with the price here. This is not a coin. When your NFT floor keeps going up, there's not a coin that you can sell for that floor price. I hope people understand that. So it's more of like, is the volume there for people to be buying at that floor
It's
price?
about supply
Or
and
like the last
demand.
sale,
If the
yeah,
demand is
supply
not,
and demand, the demand. If there's not even a little bit of demand there, it doesn't matter what people are saying the floor price
It's
at.
not
I
supply
think
and
people are.
demand, you guys. These are bots. All of the bots
no, but it's
are
not all bots
supplying the
because
supply and
Bots are
demand.
there
just
are
buying them.
legitimate projects that have legitimate floors that are rising, and it's not all bots. It's hype. A lot of it is hype, but as soon as that hype dies down, they go to the next project. All that liquidity, or well, not like what's the word? Supposed liquidity is now it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. The floor could have been 1 ETH yesterday, but then the rocks came out, and now everybody's talking about the rocks. Nobody's talking about that project that they were talking about yesterday. There's no more. The floor is down to 0.3 ETH. So
No,
now all
my argument is even if the floor is up, if there's no volume, if there's no buyers, then your floor means nothing. And then I think
Hey guys, I have a question.
yeah, sure, go ahead.
Hey, I'm Klaus. I'm actually in the Caribbean. I've been in the crypto space since 2013, and my question is revolves around miners. So, in the last 2 months, we've had an influx of miners down here in the Caribbean. And where do you guys think that the miners will continue to come more like in crypto-friendly areas to get away from governments? What's your stance on that?
Most likely, yeah. But I kind of do want to bring so mining is like just a general crypto concept, and yeah, of course, like miners, like typically where they're going to go is they're going to go with places with low cost of electricity, and then places with crypto friendly laws. But I do kind of want to go back to the conversation we were having about the economics of NFTs. So I believe it was a conversation with Lobo, and then the other person who was speaking about liquidity. Who was the other person again? If you want to speak up.
That's me. It's Kai. I've
Oh,
created. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Kai. So, where's your perspective on this? What are we going to look at when we see this inevitable bear market? What are we going to see with these floor prices? What are we going to see with this slow down the volume? Because I think that's really what's big. I think people aren't expecting. They think these are coins that you can buy and sell for any given time.
Sure.
So
So I think someone
yeah.
was mentioning supply and demand, and I think obviously that's at the center of any economic model. However, the supply and demand, if it's real within the NFT market, I think is minuscule. I think if you look at the bots that are placing the big orders, the bid ask, there's no. It's hard. It's kind of I'm more introverted. I don't really talk in these rooms that much, but there's no. The supply and demand is not legitimate if you're having 3 or 4 bots that are run by data scientists that are placing bids for 60 plus ETH on these assets. And if that's 99.9% of the quote unquote liquidity, if you have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or however many people liquidate their or try and get a an order filled at the same time, I don't know. It just makes me nervous.
no,
Kai,
I
Kai,
agree
I
with
will
you.
help you out
Listen,
with
Kai,
that.
that's
In
my
fact,
position, and I've been a lot. I've been on the I guess you would say the wrong side of a lot of projects because of that. Like I look at that and people get mad at me. They're like, "Well, how come you're not against this project?" They're like, "Why are you saying this project isn't successful?" All right, well, it's sold out in a day. That's cool. But how many people were in the Discord, and how many of those actual wallets, individual wallets, got the project? Well, never any. It's never more than 50%. That's ridiculous. That means that most of the purchases are by, like you said, bots, and the money is from whether that's from the developers or whatever. And what we end up getting is just a big gas war for and the miners are the ones who end up getting all the money from it. The miners are the ones who are really making a shit ton of money off of these 10K generative projects because people
True.
get hyped up, they spend all the gas, and the gas goes to the Ethereum blockchain.
Yeah, we're in agreement. I'm not bearish on NFTs. That's just my perspective is the liquidity concern. And it's not to say that it can't go back. It's just to say that there could be a lot of bag holders, if you want to say that.
I'm
Call it that.
bearish
I,
on
I
the
just
10K
disagree
generator.
that
Can I say something? This is Vandy. Now, the new thing that's in the space is there are people coming in who are offering liquidity for your high value NFTs. In other words, you can, just like in the art world, that you would do with a Rauschenberg or any type of fine art, you can use it as collateral. So a lot of what's happening now in the crypto world, where there's such wealth, is that there are these new groups that are forming that will lend you money based on your NFT as collateral. And it's just following the same line that it followed in the real art world. I'm done speaking.
If you're building a collectible that's not tied to either an innovative aspect of the technology or a future concept, like, I feel bad for you. This shit's getting ready to drop out so hard. The fact this room exists and this is the
Hey guys,
conversation, that's
um,
like, this is a sign of
hello,
your time.
hello. Can I quickly ask a doubt? Uh, am I audible?
yeah.
Yes, you are. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm Amal down here. So since we were talking about the legal side of this and many of the things are in like a gray area, I just wanted to know about artworks that are made around, like, let's say celebrities or characters from films. Uh, maybe like caricatures or something that's very inspired, and like you can really tell, like, let's say the character is like a mask, or like something like that's based off a celebrity, and these things are not going for the normal prices that, like, artists usually sell like caricatures. These are going for like very huge numbers. So I was thinking, like, would that be a problem in the future when, like, these things get really big? Like, would studios, like, come into, like, because they own these characters, would they come in, like, and sweep in and, like, sue? And if they do
Yeah.
sue, like,
Absolutely.
So
who
own
is
your copyright.
liable?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Own your
who is
shit.
liable? Is it like foundation, because foundation takes a
No, it's you.
part of
You.
it, like
You're
percentage?
You're
stealing.
the, yeah,
Yeah, you'll get
exactly.
raked over the coals by their
Quit
legal team.
fucking with other people's IP.
Yeah, make your own.
Okay, but like who would be like completely, like, because there's
You.
a collector involved, there is the foundation involved, and
You
the
could
creator.
even the collector could potentially be liable.
Extremely.
You are
Okay,
certainly
and not
liable.
foundation, not the marketplace.
Yeah, the marketplace as well. They would be issued a DMCA, which would be a takedown notice. If they didn't abide by that, then they would be in big
Mhm.
legal trouble. You already see this with OpenSea taking down. I think it was a CryptoPunk derivative / clone, depending on your
It
point of
was
view on it.
backwards punks, and they took them. They
Yeah,
took them down. They
the
got it.
funks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then people also have copyright to their image and likeness. There's also moral rights. There's all kinds of other
So that
rights
was the
that you
problem
could.
with BitClout, was that, like, and so for anybody who's excited that they've gotten their off ramp, that's great and all, but they're still gonna get in trouble for the likeness. You can't make money off of people's likeness without their permission.
Yo, Amal, if you go to my link tree, I'm updating it right now. I took this copyright class at Harvard Law. You may have heard me mention it in other rooms before. I'm going to reactivate this link. It's for fair
Yeah, wait, who
use.
is talking? I'm just
Oh,
scrolling down, like.
sorry, this is Andrew. I'm towards the bottom. My
Andrew
bad.
Kingsbury.
Kingsbury with a G.
Sorry,
Oh
Kingsbury.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know Andrew. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
talking on Instagram. I texted you.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Nice.
Yes,
So
yes.
here, I'm
Okay.
going to, if you go to my link tree, I just reactivated it towards the bottom, like the third thing from the bottom. Anybody can check it out.
Okay. Yeah,
It's fair
I'll do
use
that.
is what they cover in this module. The professor covers that. You can watch all about copyright because the whole course is flipped. So you can watch the entire
Great.
course, basically. You
Yeah.
just can't like be in the classroom discussing case law and things like that. So it's pretty dope. And I think Justin went to school there or something.
Yeah, was that
Yeah.
by Arthur? Was Arthur
Awesome.
Miller the teacher of that course?
Professor Terry Fisher. He clerked
Oh
with
yeah, Terry Fisher.
Thurgood
Yeah,
Marshall.
no, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
he's
Yeah,
like out
when
of
I
a
was
movie. He's like straight out of like what you would expect from like Harvard movie and shit like that. So it was really interesting though. He's a really good professor.
yeah, I volunteered and interned while I was there at the Berkman Center for Internet Society, and he
Yeah,
was heavily involved in that. Yeah.
yeah. What the there's a professor, he does music and digital media law, and I got waitlisted for it. I was so mad and couldn't take it, but yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, so there's a whole giant course like of like, I don't know, like 2 days of material, so you can learn about music copyright. You
Oh,
discuss like
great.
cake, somebody stealing like using Mickey Mouse on a cake. The
Uh-huh.
person uploads the photo of the cake. Everybody's
And
liable, basically. The website that accepts it, the
oh,
person that took the photo, the person that made the cake without asking Disney. So it's really
that
interesting.
is
We did like
insane.
cake
I
case
mean,
law.
it's very like it's very important. Like people know about this in the space because once it's collected, you can't burn it. Like the artist, like once he finds about this area, like the legality behind it, he can't possibly burn it because it's collected, and the collector wouldn't want to burn it because now he spent money on it, and it would just sit there until like it increases in price or whatever happens to it. So it's very complicated. Like I just thought about the other day and I had put up a tweet and nobody answered and I was like very worried, like
That
nobody's like
shit's getting ready to
talking
get
The
about it.
part
taken
of the
down.
Yeah.
equation that
Like,
people forget,
there's legalities
Yo,
that are getting ready to
Justin,
get in place to take that shit down.
if you stop paying for storage, even if it's pinned, if you stop paying for repinning, it's not going to be available anymore. So there are ways of taking down content or eliminating the economic benefit of having content by
yo, Justin, what do you think? Because right now, so pretty much all the law carries over to the NFT space and the case law as well. But it, of course, requires enforcement and litigation and things like that. So I just wanted to kind of see from your law perspective what you kind of think of that and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot. Yeah, almost all of copyright law has a pretty clear precedent in the mechanics and the application of NFTs. The one most recent one, which is the grayest area of the law, is that there's this, not to get like too into the weeds, but there's this legal concept called the first sale doctrine, which basically means that um, it basically, when you're an artist and you have obviously copyright to the works that you've created, once you sell that work, that physical work, let's say, Picasso sells his first painting on canvas, then the first sale doctrine allows for that painting to be resold by collectors. And basically the first sale doctrine produced this, the secondary market for creative goods like artwork. Um, what the courts found actually in a Capitol Records music case is that the first sale doctrine doesn't technically and legally apply to digital works of art because when you sell, and this isn't in the way that the NFTs function, at least not yet, but when you sell let's say you have a digital art piece and you have a buyer and you're like, okay, I'm going to email you, or you can, then, download it from my website, etc. That is actually like technically a copy of that first artwork. So you get to keep it and you allow the other, party to have a duplicate in effect. And so therefore it's creating new artworks. It's not actually transferring one artwork from one party to the other. And so the courts held that like that first sale doctrine does not apply to digital artwork and music, digital, visual artwork, all under that same roof. The way that NFTs currently function, though, it doesn't even implicate the first sale doctrine because you're buying a token, right? The token that represents the artwork that lives elsewhere. So it's basically you own something that lives on this, IPFS network that's decentralized that you actually don't control, right? So the interesting thing that I've thought about in this whole space is that in the physical art world, you usually don't get intellectual property rights, but you do get personal property rights. So you actually can move that painting from your home to your office, to your living room, to your bathroom, to your bedroom. But and that's personal property. You can claim insurance on it. In the NFT world, you don't get that personal property because it lives on a server or a network that you don't control, and you can't remove it or move it off that network. So therefore, that's kind of it accomplishes one thing, is that it avoids the first sale doctrine rule, and avoids copyright infringement. But on the other hand, um, we're not actually purchasing artwork right now. That's the other thing that I think just needs to remain clear. All NFT purchases that I've seen so far are not actual acquisitions of artwork, because you don't control the artwork and where it lives. And someone was mentioning earlier, I haven't heard the technical solution to this, but the like a cease and desist letter, right? So if you have a cease and desist letter, like this happens all the time with social media, right? Where someone's using someone else's artwork or logo and they get sent a cease and desist, and they can just like delete it from Instagram. Done. Like it's not viewable to the world anymore. But with this IPFS network, maybe there is a technical solution. I don't know how you can actually remove something from an IPFS, like purely decentralized network. And if that's the case, that then actually presents much more liability on the party who's infringing, because that means that that infringement would live forever. And if the courts compute whatever damages forever infringing IP like equals, that becomes potentially like financially like destroying to that infringing party. So I don't know if I don't think there is a technical way, but maybe there will be, or to limit the IPFS, network or
It's
nodes that are hosting that content. But that presents a real issue, because basically cease and desist can live at the presentation layer, like the OpenSea layers, the Maker's Place layers, but I don't know how they live at the IPFS layer.
it's epistemological and legal and all kind of wrapped up, right? Because like I said before, things only survive in IPFS when you pay to have them pinned, right? Because IPFS, if you don't know, has automatic garbage collection. So everything that gets put up on IPFS disappears after a period of time, unless it's pinned essentially or repeated, right? But the hash, right, lives forever. So if you stop paying for your pinning service and then you start pinning those addresses again, your content appears again, because that address is forever the address, right? So, I don't know if the courts have dealt with it at that level, right? If you create an address that's no longer pinned and held in the network, does it still exist? Well, yes, but no one can see it, right? So I mean, they're complex questions that I assume courts have not really addressed.
Wait, Nate. So yeah, explain. So how does this pinning work? And does it have to continuously be renewed, or at the outset can someone pin something forever?
Essentially, no. I mean, the only way when you upload something to IPFS, it creates the hashes and it lives there for a period of time until garbage collection process. I forget how long the garbage collection process is, but that's 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 part of the intrinsic feature of IPFS, right? So it's kind of like mammals, right? If no mammals ever died, then we'd have a planet with piles of people that have, and animals that have existed before us, right? And all life, right? It kind of uses that same concept. Um, and when you make an NFT and you post your content to IPFS, you or someone is paying to have that content pinned. Now, chances are, if you're using OpenSea or something like that, they're managing that and they are paying for the pinning, right? But if OpenSea, let's pretend, went away and stopped paying for the pinning, all of the content eventually that was being hosted by IPFS for those people publishing NFTs would disappear, right? Same thing if you were to do it yourself, right? Now you pay, that's why you pay Pinata or you pay pinning services to essentially keep alive that address in the IPFS network. You can set up your own node to do that on your computer, right? But those aren't long-term strategies for forever necessarily. And that's one of the parts that people miss about this whole equation. And it's also one of the places where, in terms of enforcement and in the legal realm, that a court could, or a rights holder or whomever, right, could come and either issue a takedown or seize those addresses and take over ownership of
Well,
them.
but yeah, but this is fascinating, because this presents an entirely new legal issue, which is the contract that between the collector and the either the marketplace or the artist. Because let's say that IPFS like that payment, that pinning payment is abandoned, can someone else take over that payment? Like, let's say it's like, let's say a collector is like, fine, I'll just like, I shouldn't be responsible for this, but I want to keep my, the artwork that I supposedly now own up on the IPFS server. Can that collector take
Yeah,
over those
because I
payments
want
without
secondary
like,
sales to
yeah, how does
continue.
that work?
I want secondary sales to continue. So
Oh,
yes,
Nate, you're
I
muted a little bit.
hello.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, sorry. So I was just going to say, yeah, to the collector, it would behoove them to pay for pinning that content
No,
because
you sound muffled.
is that better?
Nope. Can you mute that Chris guy? He's got water in the background.
Try now, Nate, if you're still here. Anyone else know much about the technicalities of IP? Oh, there you
Yes.
go.
Is
Go
that
ahead,
better?
Chris.
I just came in and out. No, I was just saying, like, yeah,
Okay.
as a collector, it would behoove you potentially to pay for pinning the content because then you want to make sure there's people can see it and generate secondary sales.
The authorization of the first pinner.
No.
Well, I
So
mean, it's the pinning service basically is just. It sounds like someone else was going to go start to explain that. So
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
go
So
ahead, Chris.
just real quick, guys. So those addresses, those IPFS addresses, they're based on the content of the files that are being hosted. Anybody can run an IPFS node and pin any file available on IPFS. You don't need to own it. You're just saying, I'm going to store this and provide it to the network. So it doesn't have to even, there's no agreement necessary, right? If it disappears from IPFS entirely, nobody's pinning it anymore. If you happen to have a downloaded copy of that file, you could just re-upload it to IPFS yourself, and it's all going to the same address. There's no concept of like controlling or owning an address. The address is based entirely on the contents of the file, and anyone who has that file can put it on IPFS, pin it, make it available to everybody.
yeah,
But you're saying anyone, even those who like just downloaded it
Yes.
without being the owner of it?
Yes, yes. It's just a file, and IPFS is basically a fancy URL that says, hey, with this URL, somewhere on IPFS, you can find this file. And X number or 0 people may actually be providing that file on IPFS. So if somebody decided that they were going to start pinning, say, a work that has been taken down from OpenSea because of a DMCA claim, that person could just on their own make sure that it never disappears from IPFS until Disney tracks them down and has them murdered or whatever. So IPFS isn't some magical solution. Some people have these files on their computers and are choosing to make them available on IPFS. There's no concept of owning that address. It's just based on the file itself. And if somebody really wanted to take it down, they would have to reach out to anybody who happens to be pinning that file and remove it. That said, OpenSea, for example, if you say, hey, this NFT uses this IPFS address, they don't actually generally, plug in a Web3 version that downloads it from IPFS on your, web browser. They use IPFS HTTP nodes, which provide a regular web interface, right? So there are some major HTTP nodes run by OpenSea and run by some other big companies. And if you just went to them and said, hey, stop serving content on this address, suddenly your OpenSea NFT, you'd get a big gray box there. But it would still be available on the IPFS network as long as anybody is pinning.
Got it.
bingo.
And then just one last thing to clarify. Once those there are those payments for pinning. So if those payments stop, like the pinning likely will stop as well. Is that correct or not?
Yeah, so if you wanted, you could run your own pinning service. You could create Pinata, just run your own IPFS node, and if somebody pays you money and they say, hey, pin this file, you pin it for them, which means you store a copy on your computer, and your IPFS node, commits to providing that to the IPFS network. If you decide that you just want to steal all their money, you can stop pinning it and just disappear. If you go out of business, you can disappear. So you can pretty easily, with the IPFS command line, find out how many and which specific IPFS nodes are actually pinning your files. it's very possible that any of these companies fold and now they're no longer pinning the file. And if it goes down to zero, then the file disappears via garbage collection.
But that's interesting. But that also then means, it sounds like, that cease and desist notices could be affected in this space through like the lack, like letting the the payment of the pinning service run its course, or et
Yep.
cetera. There are multiple ways to get it off.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
the
really,
dirty little
yeah.
secret about all NFTs, and 99% of collectors don't really seem to understand, is that really it's most likely just the platform that you have minted your NFT on that is pinning your file. And if nobody else is pinning it, if you haven't gone to the extra trouble of making sure some hard to reach people are pinning it, it can be very easily taken down by that platform if they so decide.
So is
Yeah,
that
that's what I was getting at.
is that value or utility that should be taken on by the artists in terms of creating a piece that can last or withstand regardless of how the platform treats it?
Right. So, I think a lot of maybe really savvy artists who care about their long-term rep may choose to engage, pinning services for all of their pieces as well, just to outlast, whatever marketplace they happen to pin it on. Most don't. Most don't really know about this problem. I'd say as a collector, if you really, really want to be safe, if you want to be sure that nobody can control, completely removing from IPFS the thing that you think you own, download the files. It's a little complicated, but download all of the IPFS files associated with the NFT. And if it disappears from the IPFS network at any time in the future, you can learn how to run an IPFS node and provide them yourself.
Yeah, I
I'd
mean, this
love
is
to
why I brought
jump
all
in
this
here
up.
real quick to talk about Filecoin, because right now basically what we're discussing is the issue with like these centralized intermediaries that kind of are responsible for the node pinnings. But in the future, like this will also be a process that can be kind of decentralized, where essentially, people will rent out kind of computing power to do it, right? Like to do this node pinning in a more streamlined kind of decentralized system.
So
Yeah.
I don't want to hog the discussion, but just really quick, my thoughts on Filecoin and Arweave. In all of these cases, as a collector, again, you're trusting somebody else. So Filecoin, Arweave, you're trusting that, for example, the cryptocurrency that they have created associated with this doesn't plummet in value. If it does, it's no longer worth it for the people who are actually doing the pinning in return for those coins to continue pinning, right? So as a collector, really the only way that you can be 100% sure, just the same way you would treat your wallet private key, is own it yourself, download the files, and now no matter what happens, you always have them.
Yeah, and that's why I
Very good
brought
point.
this whole broad thing up originally, or why we kind of got into this discussion, is because there's a lot of unknowns like that, and I actually work with artists to help them do custom minting contracts that have a carve out built into it to actually fund a wallet to pay for pinning in perpetuity. And same thing with collectors too. Like I was saying before, like it does behoove the collector, as Chris was pointing out, to have some skin in this as well, because it does affect the resale potentially. And whether or not the value of the piece goes up and down, um, if it goes back up and you're not pinning it, then it's no good to have it, invisible, when you still own that thing of a value that still has some resale value potentially down the road. So.
You all are making my little artist head spin. One quick question, just to keep somebody like me not to go crazy. I'm like, oh shit, do I have to pin and blah blah blah? I'm just curious, how many CryptoPunks disappeared because of this factor that you guys are talking about with pinning and making sure that the files stay alive?
I'll just say real quick, one of the very first X copies owned by my co-founder disappeared for this exact reason.
Yeah, but
But
are
how
we?
many?
But Wiley, I don't think it's anything you'll specific. I mean, because you're going to be working with network, but I assume Larva Labs, right, would continue to keep them up because Larva Labs is in control, at least in some part of that. But with your own art, I think since you're working through different platforms like OpenSea and Makers, et cetera, like they are responsible for that,
Yeah.
right?
I also just wanted to say in regards to CryptoPunks, it's actually on chain, like fully on chain, because it was using ERC20. And so it's a different story, right? Because technically it's fully on Ethereum there.
So is the answer making sure you're on RC20?
Sorry?
So is the answer then making sure it's on our ERC20?
Well, the issue is that ERC20 is limited, right? That's also why the CryptoPunks like played around with this pixel aspect to limit like the kind of file size, right? So it's hard to go back to ERC20, but we'll definitely have to find ways to kind of push for that immutability going forward. Yeah.
Isn't Arweave better than IPFS because you don't have to pin it once you've uploaded it? It's there for.
Right, unless the value of the Arweave token drops and then it's no longer economically worth it to the people who are actually hosting the file to continue hosting the file.
Yeah, but isn't it made with a deflationary aspect to it so that it gets cheaper as storage media gets?
Yep, and again, market forces are not necessarily tied to anything rational or reasonable. I'm saying that if the value of the Arweave coin drops, 100x for just whatever people are not interested anymore, then deflationary or not, it's still worth,
Yeah, but can't you say the same thing about IPFS?
No, there's no direct, connection to any cryptocurrency for IPFS. You can just choose to run your own node.
No, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
And then you
IPFS
said,
is not a blockchain.
sorry, you said, someone said, I didn't catch the name. This is Wiley, by the way, said their X copy NFT disappeared.
Yeah, not mine. My co-founder, you might know him, Art Gnome. He had one of the very first X copies. The platform it was minted on went out of business and stopped pinning it on IPFS. So that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, these things are as permanent as OnlyFans is. I'll put it that way, right? There's services. It is ultimately up to the buyer and the seller to beware of technical underpinnings of how the stuff works and the legal stuff. And fortunately or unfortunately, we're in a period where it's a little Wild West, but people are going to continue to learn, right?
Yes, hello. Is the room still there? Oh, okay. I have a
So
question. This is Rob.
I just had a comment, maybe going forward, this is out Jedi, on the topic at hand. So what if, let's say, one of the really popular platform disappears for whatever reason? Like, what would it take to make it possible if the collectors had the reference number of, like, on the blockchain, and they could re-upload? Like, is that even a solution that could be possible going forward?
Well, that's what we were saying before. Chris was saying, like, when you upload any piece of content, it's going to have a unique signature that is created by the network, and it is forever going to be that address. That's what a content addressable data store does. That's what IPFS is based on. So that's why I was saying before, like, you can put something up on IPFS and it's a pinning service pinning it or not, but the address is still unique to that piece of content forever. Now, that also gets into the zone, well, I can post a piece of content and I can serve it up, and I can serve up an image that has been changed once it's been uploaded. So that is not the same image anymore either. Or maybe I've downloaded a copy of something and it's altered it on the download. My browser altered it somehow, let's say, for instance. And there are browsers that will do that. They'll downscale it or change the content. So the content that you have might not be the original content. So there's all of these sort of questions. But to your point, if you're the artist and you have the original, then you have the same content that will generate those addresses again if you upload it. And I think Chris kind of addressed that earlier, right? So as long as you've got the original content, you've got the keys to create those addresses. And if you can create those addresses in IPFS, you can make content reappear that an NFT refers to using that address, even if it doesn't exist in the network anymore. It's all about having those originals.
Thanks, Nate. Thanks, Nate.
I have a question. I was outside, so um, I didn't know if I had connection or no, so I had to like a few people that I know we're usually doing. But also, I still really 2 seconds gonna plug this club in. If you guys want to follow it, this is literally the club where I started my NFT journey 2 or 3 months ago. I had this question because now with visa and stuff also coming in and bigger companies and all of that, and we had this discussion before about all the thing being legal. I'm out of breath. Everything being legalized and stuff like that. And we're having this conversation for weeks now. So with bigger companies coming in, my question is like, is it almost time, or when is it time when it gets some recognitions by law? If you guys know what I mean.
So what do you mean? Which part gets recognized
Because
by law?
I mean, the whole crypto space, the whole NFT space. Like, we've been having conversations about stuff not being really legal. A smart contract is not a smart contract, it's coding. So you have to attach it to like a real life contract, so to speak. But now with these bigger companies, and I think Visa is a really big one coming in, are recognizing crypto punks or whatever they're buying right now. When is there going to be like, when is that moment when the system is going to say, of course the system is going to have a hard time with this, but still, like, does it feel like it comes
Well, yeah,
closer? Or
yeah, I get it. Yeah, no, it's interesting. Actually, both me, Jesse, and Ali, we're going to host a room about the visa situation, because the interesting thing there is also, earlier we were discussing that, look, most of the like intellectual property laws does apply pretty cleanly to this space. There's some
Totally.
there's some instances where it doesn't, such as like we were talking about the first sale doctrine, etc. But as far as like the Larva Labs has a they issued two terms of service or two licensing agreements. The latest one does provide commercial rights to the owners, and the way it's read liberally is that that those like the commercial rights of that work will apply both to an individual and an institution. So yeah, I mean, I think I tweeted about this. I think I said that like Visa might have just made the best negotiation deal of the decade by getting marketing value within an asset, all for like $150,000. So the way I read it, technically, legally, yeah, they can start issuing like a CryptoPunk credit card with that. Not all CryptoPunks, but with that specific CryptoPunk like printed on it, and then use that as a promotional marketing vehicle for their cards. But
Well,
I
well,
don't
do
think there's
most
new
people
law that
also?
needs to take place for that to happen.
I was going to say with that one too. Do most people know that there's a very well-respected NFT artist who's a product manager at Visa Mastercard who probably had a little influence on their decision to do that?
I heard that
No, who's
story, by the
that?
way, also.
Who is that?
Uh,
Or is that out in
Himanshu.
the open?
Yeah, I mean he's it's I mean it's I don't know if I don't know if he really advertises it. I mean, it's on his LinkedIn, and I've had discussions with him about it. But I'm sure that had some influence internally. So
Yeah, but anyone can, right? Any company could acquire a CryptoPunk, right? And that same license would apply to them like it would apply to Visa. So yeah, I think, and actually Ali was, when we were talking about this, she was like, yeah, like with this kind of example, like she's thinking of reworking her agreements, depending on what the artists want. But if the artists want to somehow distinguish between like individual collectors versus institutional collectors and the different rights that provide.
yep, I've had some discussions about this and how it's similar to Creative Commons, and the reason why Creative Commons came about to solve some copyleft problems with remix culture and content that was created and Web 2.0 and sort of its inception. And to Zoe's question, I mean, most of the law does cover this stuff already. And to your point about, for sale doctrine, sure. I mean, there are some things that are different, but there's really not much change in the law. I think it's a lot of it is just people's inexperience with the fact that laws exist around this stuff. I mean, I spend a lot of time in these rooms and a lot of times working with artists, and sometimes they just have opinions on things that they should or shouldn't be a certain way, and it requires a bit of education. I know Alexandra Damsker was in here earlier. I don't know if she's still in here or not. I know she works with artists and creatives a lot around that kind of stuff. And I hate to say that it's ignorance because I don't mean to make it sound negative, but these are conversations and information that need to reach more creators, so they understand that they don't want to put themselves in jeopardy. They don't want to put the buyers in jeopardy, and it's a reputation thing as well.
Is
So
there a,
We're losing you in the metaverse where first talking, and also, oh, was it you, Stefan? We were losing you, but I'm gonna leave the NFT Society to the other mods because I was being into the room with a fabricant, and I really want to hear
go
that.
ahead.
He's still talking, but yeah, thanks for answering the question.
Yeah, hi guys. This is Robert speaking. I just have a few questions. I'm learning about this space, the NFT asset, and from what I've learned so far is that the NFT asset, in my mind, I always thought the NFT was NFT and Bitcoin was Bitcoin. I understand that the NFT allows artists to digitize their work and put it in the marketplace, and that work is held and owned by the artist, and those who purchase it at a later time have options to monetize their investment in that NFT. Um, One of the things that comes to my mind when I worked in financial services, there was a point where the industry transferred over from commission-based payment to its broker community to asset-based uh, uh, a model. And so what happened is, as a result of that transition, brokers were, they wanted to have access to more assets. So I undertook a project called third party asset transfers. And in that process, I was responsible for locating assets that clients had, limited partnerships, et cetera, and figuring out how we could value those assets and bring them onto the books, thereby increasing a broker's books. And so in that work, it involved obscure assets from all over the world, where I would have to go in, figure out what the asset was, how it was traded, and more importantly, how it's valued and the frequency of its valuation, et cetera, and somehow put that together, put that model together, and bring that asset on the books, and then create an operational procedure for the company to measure that asset, and of course, ultimately ensure that they were reporting the right values in the regulatory and compliance community. So my question to you guys, as you go along, and I don't expect you to address me directly, but as you discuss this NFT process, uh, I would like to understand it more from the beginning, when it's produced, how it's traded, how it's sold, and in that regard, because I think ultimately, from a taxation standpoint, I think in every country, governments are going to want to know how they value this, because if they can get taxes from your assets, they're going to do that. So I just wanted to put that out there. That's what my thinking is, and I hope that as you go further in your discussion, that you spread, just elaborate on a few of those things. My name is Robert. Thank you for having me speak. I've landed.
Hey, Robert, I'll just kick it off just by no. I thank you for outlining that. I think it's a really good refresh for us all just to have. So I'll just given that you were discussing kind of real world examples, I'll just bring in real world analogies. So the NFT is actually it's a token, right? So the token by definition represents something else. So using the analogy of art, uh, it's the certificate of authenticity. It's not the art piece itself. So it represents the art piece, which is what, in the traditional art world we call the certificate of authenticity. The digital, if we're talking about digital art, the digital art itself lives on what we were before usually discussing, like an IPFS network. Another like real world analogy, which actually I think is an industry that will be heavily disrupted by NFTs, is real estate. It's the title to the house. It's not the house itself. It's the NFT is the title to the house. So the NFT just represents something that has value to that collector, that and that establishes ownership and the transactional record for that asset that has value. So I'll just set kind of the stage there with the distinction between the actual asset and the NFT, which represents that asset, which will, possibly play into this discussion about regulatory issues.
Hey, Justin, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we just had a house go up for sale as an NFT, and it made the news and everything there because they're asking so much for it, but they're selling it as an NFT. It's pretty wild to see because my son's in real estate here, but it's a bit of a disruptor for people to go this angle with real estate. So I hear what you're saying. It's being done right now.
That's really cool.
I just jump in a little bit with my super duper amateur finance lawyer background. So in terms of like valuation of these things, right? The only real valuation that we kind of currently have that has any legal weight is, you bought it at X and you sold it at Y. So for tax purposes, that's covered. In terms of, if you were to start taxing based on, the assets you owned, as if, paying real estate tax, right? There's really in the, community right now, there is no any kind of even agreed upon or established, valuation mechanism. The closest thing that we get to that right now is this really wonky concept of a price floor, as if that matters. But like the conversations earlier, that without buyers and sellers, that doesn't really have a whole lot of impact. And there are no analysts, financial analysts with really good reputations who are going around and appraising all of these NFTs and saying this is their expert view on the value of these things. So yeah, in terms of trying to figure out what your collection happens to be worth, there's nothing that's really legally recognized at the moment.
Can I jump in? This is Timothy.
Yeah, of course.
Please.
Are the rights to the actual work transferred during the transaction?
That all depends upon the contract, the actual legal contract or terms of use that was used to produce that. A smart contract by itself doesn't say anything about anything that happens off of the blockchain. And in terms of transferring actual copyright, that would just be a purely human, social, legal notion, has nothing to do with the blockchain. So if you want to create an NFT and attach a real actual contract to it that says, and by buying this NFT, I transfer you the copyright, then you can do that. But at the moment, copyright remains with the artist by default.
So you're saying, like, if I'm the artist and I create a piece of work that I then sell as an NFT, I retain my copyrights unless I come up with some form of documentation saying that I transferred it to said customer?
Yep,
Correct.
that's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Same as everything else.
you can
That might
stipulate the
that may
terms.
be
You
a
can
point.
stipulate the terms. I'm sorry, Timmy. This is Robert. You can stipulate the terms of how you can stipulate the terms yourself, but it exists within the blockchain to authenticate everything else, the other portions of that particular asset. But
Oh, so
each
that's why it's such a wild west when it comes to valuation then, because everybody's terms are different.
And just to be clear about something, so something should be said for the social constructs that have been built up around this. Now, you may retain the copyright as the artist, and you may legally have the right to go ahead and create 1,000 more copies of that item or mint it 100 more times on different blockchains and sell all of those. But as soon as you like literally copy a thing that you've already sold or do something else like that, nobody's ever going to talk to you again.
Chris, I have a follow-up question to Robert's about the regulatory and the nature, and then also the valuation.
Could I,
Is there an added level of
Justin?
complexity? Oh,
So,
it's just related to the previous question. Just one
mine
quick
too.
thing.
Okay.
Is there added level of complexity given that right now most of the NFTs are being minted on Ethereum, and there's this commingling of Ethereum as a currency and the NFT itself, and so like fluctuations in the value of Ethereum is also causing fluctuations in the market?
Yeah, so unfortunately, cryptocurrency was the killer app for the blockchain. My personal opinion would be that NFTs would have been nice to get there first, but yeah, so people paint everything with a broad brush. As soon as, you know, cryptocurrencies go down, they kind of mentally assume that anything crypto related goes down. You know, different platforms allow you to buy and sell NFTs directly for cash, you know, US dollars or whatever you want to use. So they're not intrinsically tied, but they are very, you know, closely mentally tied with the market sentiment.
I think what may end up happening is you may see bigger Fortune 500s coming into the space and trying to cultivate a community of artists that purely work with them under a certain type of terms that are kind of create this control group or this slice or niche community that they can actually
Large companies
evaluate.
probably.
I'm sorry.
Arjade, I think you were going to say something as well, right?
Yeah, thank you. Was the person who was just speaking finished, or did they just disappear?
I'm not sure
Connection
what
disappear,
happened.
probably. Chris, I wanted to say something with regards to what you just said about selling something and then selling physical copies. I've had discussions around that, having come from physical art world for a long time, and having discussions with like a lot of experts in the space. And the consensus is that as long as you're transparent, so I have sold 2 NFTs, relatively high valued, and yeah, I've been very clear that this is the NFT, this is the only NFT that would be minted, but I do reserve the right to print physical copies, and that's within my commercial and creative rights. So I have been very clear, and the collectors have accepted that. So as long as you're transparent about your intentions, about your work from the outset, and the collector accepts it, it's all fine. That's all I wanted to add, just for the sake of clarity.
Just really quick, I wanted to say that's exactly the way this has to do. And like I said, that's a social construct. It's a community construct of, like, you know, if somebody does something that they kind of inherently promised not to do by minting an NFT, then, you know, people are going to be upset. I think if people are really upfront, like, I'm going to be printing, you know, physical copies of this, for example, and selling those, that makes a lot of sense. And in particular, in the photography NFT community, you know, there are already these concepts of editions and print runs, and you can buy a 1 of 50 physical print and so forth. And, you know, I really try to separate mentally the concept of doing this kind of thing for a natively digital asset. So if somebody creates, you know, a CryptoPunk and then they go and sell that, and then they create 10,000 copies of that CryptoPunk, that's kind of clearly, you know, violating some social norm here, versus something that's inherently, you know, natively physical, and then you create an NFT of that. I really do see those as 2 distinct things. Like, owning the NFT of a physical artwork does not mean you own the physical artwork, and I think that's really clear. So what you own is the NFT of that physical artwork. If you were then, after selling that NFT of the physical artwork, go and behind the backs of the person who bought that initial NFT, mint more of them, that would be, I think, the violation that I'm really getting at.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a great explanation. Thank you.
Hi, this is ClipDad here. Could I ask you a quick technical question to the group? I don't know if this is the right setting for that, but
Go for it. Don't know if there's any right setting for the anti-NFT society.
yeah, great. Thank you, Jedi. And yeah, so my question is this. So I sold an NFT on OpenSea, and it has like, I'm trying to reach out to the collector of that NFT because it has like, it's not a huge mistake. It's just like something about this figure's face that's like a mistake, right? So, and it just kind of like irks me. So I was thinking about reaching out to the collector to see if they would send it back to me. And I noticed that like on OpenSea, there's no like burn feature. So when they send it back to me, I know it's already on blockchain because they bought it and it's lazy minting. So they put it on the chain basically when they bought it. But how would I go about maybe like burning that one and sending a new one? Is it like that easy that I just like get the burn wallet address, send it to that, and then it disappears from like existence on the platform at least? Or if somebody could explain that, that'd be great. Thank
kind of not clear on the question unless Chris
Well,
is.
Yeah, Flip
oh,
that. I think I can answer that. Yeah, so definitely when you send it to that wallet, it will take it off the platform, right? And off any kind of like filtering going on, showing it on the users. So from that point onward, like it's not being tracked by the platform anymore, and it is on this kind of burn wallet.
But the collector would have Cyrus would have to send it back to me, right, for it to disappear off the platform.
Send it back to you for burning.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you
So
really wanted to do this, you would need to reobtain possession of that NFT, have them send it back to you, and then send it to the burn address. So yes, that should work, but good luck even tracking down the person who bought it, who may be, completely anonymous and unreachable.
okay. Well, they were actually in this room a little bit earlier, but but I
Good to
had a
know.
tough time reaching out to them, and then they ducked out. But that was hugely helpful. Thank you so much, and
I would just suggest that as a collector myself, if an artist said, "Hey, could you send this back to me? I want to burn it so that I can mint it a different way and send it to you," even if kind of theoretically I was okay with that idea, rather than asking them to do multiple transactions and trusting that they really will send me the replacement and so forth, and also on your behalf, trusting that these things kind of happen atomically, that you receive, burn, and send the new version. I would set up a swap contract to handle all of that everyone can verify.
I'm not sure how to go about that. That's beyond my pay grade, but I'll look into it definitely. And thank you.
No problem.
I'm bothered by that whole concept. I was sitting there, I was like, I don't like this idea at all. Like, it's like once you make the art, then it's like gone, especially once you sell it. And then like altering it, it just is like, it kind of irks me. And then I imagine now, if as a collector, I bought something, I'm excited about it, then artist was like, man, the thing I made for you is kind of bad. Let me tune it up or whatever. Like, would the excitement go away? Like, it just brings up a lot of
I
bizarre
agree with
feelings. Like,
I have to
doesn't
agree
feel
with
dope.
Wiley.
Yeah, you gotta embrace
I
that
think that
Yeah,
imperfection.
a
definitely.
slippery slope, and your artist, like whether it was a mistake that you see or not, they may love it as is. They may love that about whatever you see as a mistake. They may think it's perfect. So it's
It's almost like physically selling something and then going to collector's home to then retouch the painting. That's like, no, it's
Yeah,
done.
like, oh man, I might love the mistake you made.
Well,
Yeah.
well, that's the
exactly.
thing. In my background, as far as trading, like I know stocks, bonds, securities. This is why you have within the trade, trading is what T3, right? It takes a certain amount of days for a trade to be completed because there's a confirmation process that's in place, and that process inherently is in place to detect any misunderstandings or to catch any mistakes or errors. So is that not the case with NFTs? I mean, I would imagine there should be a process before someone accepts an asset to have a check and balance, and then uh, before they complete the confirmation of the asset.
I could chime in real quick. Yeah, that's actually not an option with NFTs. Yeah, unfortunately. So it's
Well,
yeah, it it yeah.
technically it's almost possible, but the time frame is much shorter. If you can submit a competing transaction to the blockchain with a higher gas fee to crowd out the previous transaction that you committed to, it's possible that you might be able to prevent it from going through. But again, we're talking about seconds and not T+3.
Totally. And Wiley and Jedi and whoever else commented, I totally agree with you as well. It's like the collector bought it, so they must have been happy with it. I'll just quickly explain it. It was a Jimi Hendrix character, like a funny character that's kind of based on Jimi Hendrix without a mustache. So, and there are a couple pictures of Jimmy that's where he has no mustache at all. So, like, basically, the collector's happy. So I almost wish that I didn't message them on Clubhouse, like asking them if they would consider doing it. And I was going to completely make it like worth their while with an NFT from a different collection that where I just like give away a lot of NFTs out of that other collection and stuff like that. But I'm glad that I talked to this group because I'm feeling a little bit differently.
Yo,
Like
clip that.
if the collectors
Yo,
have.
you should be happy. Yes, that's it right there. And there's certain things that you may not be able to understand or even articulate that they appreciate in that, and that's part of us as artists. You have to learn to appreciate the imperfection. So, and let it go. But that's awesome that you got it collected, and I think that's celebrate that win.
100%, and the collector is like a really nice guy as well. I talked to him in the room, and it was a great experience. So thank you very much
Yeah,
for putting that.
airdrop him another something else. Just a little piece to be like, hey, thanks, man. Didn't mean to bug you. And then, now you guys have that relationship as well, I think.
Yeah, I was
drop
told
him the
maybe
Jimi
don't.
Hendrix piece with two mustaches.
There you go.
Yeah, right.
You fix it up and then do the version that you wanted it to be. And then now those pieces are intrinsically collected by the same collector and they have maybe even more value.
Yeah, it's a one-of-one collection, so I probably won't be doing that. But I think I might. I was told that maybe it's not cool to airdrop collectors other NFTs that they might not be into, like from different collections and stuff. But
You definitely check with them. That's what I got from feedback on that.
Sorry, could you
Cyrus,
say that
said.
again clearly? And
Oh,
with your
sorry,
name as well, thanks.
sorry, my name's Cyrus. Yeah, I was just
Hey,
saying that
Cyrus. Can't hear you.
from the feedback I got, definitely it's a better idea to check with them first, because some collectors don't like the idea of just having someone drop something, right? Like as in a promotional tactic or something.
Rock and roll. That makes a lot of sense, Cyrus.
Yeah, pleasure, man.
Some collectors like things airdropped. Like it depends on collector. There are all kinds of collector. Just as there's so many kinds of artists, right? It's just knowing your audience and kind of just vibing with that, I suppose.
True.
Okay, very quiet. This room has been going on for hours now, and anyone who opened this room has left already. What shall we do, Justin, Cyrus, Wiley, Jason?
I think we should kill this room and start another one. I think that the topic is deceiving at this point, and we should
Yeah,
possibly move it on to something else that's a little more user-friendly and could allow people to talk about their projects without the idea of saying that their project is worthless. So
Yeah, we
let's
can
go to
flip the
another.
script on that one.
Let's do that because I think when we first started this room, we were talking about random projects that people were very at this point. Let's talk about good things. So in the
I
next,
agree.
I guess, let's say goodbyes and we'll cancel this room and we'll start up another one and we can hear some wonderful stories and talk NFTs or talk whatever everybody wants to talk about, but go on the positivity now instead of the worthlessness. So,
Yes. Well,
Nice
thank you. I
speaking with
think this was
everyone.
a great room and
definitely.
great
Thank
job.
you, everybody.
All right,
Likewise, take care, everyone.
Raven, see you soon, man.
Cheers.
amazing. All right. On the count of 10, with all my love, this is going to self-combust, and we'll see you on the flip side. Big love. Our Jedi out.
Take care, everyone.
you should be able to represent that in this world and bring that in. You just wouldn't be one of these initial founding districts. So we're really hoping that this is going to be a bit of a diaspora as these models get created, for other worlds and this world, and people will port those things over and come in and be like, I would not be surprised to see an ether rock actually with like feet and hands, right? I think that'd be really funny.
Working on my next drop, that kind of a thing. So
awesome. Can't wait to see it. And thank you so much for the support and love this morning for my mom's stuff. Really, really is unexpected, and I'm really thankful, and she's blown away. So thank you.
It's only the beginning. I think we will probably, maybe, I don't know, let's talk like back channel or something and set up a room, bring in some people, and
yeah,
even
I
if
mean,
she
I'll
can't
bring
be
her.
here, we can still talk.
Gonna follow. It's like it's so fast with people talking, and then once people talk over each other, it's like there's not a chance in hell she'll be able to follow anymore.
No, I
But
don't
we
think
can
she
try.
needs to be here, because we can try, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure there are ways around it, right? So
Yeah, I
we
think
can work it
we'll
out.
just have her in the room so she can listen to the support of it, and then if she understands and she gathers with it, then fantastic. If not, then no harm, no foul. Plus, it's
Yeah,
all positive,
exactly.
so it's good.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you both of you could be in one room, so perhaps, I don't know, she can look at you for your reactions and stuff, whatever, I don't know.
Totally. Or I could like explain to her what's going on so she can come up with what she wants to say. But
Yeah,
she'll lose her train of thought really quickly.
but I
But
think
it's
we
amazing.
can work it out. We can work it out. Let's talk about it. All right.
Okay, go make your stuff. We'll catch up later.
All right. See you later.
Yeah, have
Bye.
a good one. What's up, Allie?
Hey, Jason. Perfect. I actually wanted to reach out and let you know that we didn't end up going to LA yesterday. Otherwise, like I told you, we would have taken that. But I did bring like your idea up to Dave about the
Yeah.
wall, and I mean, as much as he would love to do that, I think it's going to be tricky because Rhyme is in Paris. Jobs and Mila don't take that many walls anymore, really. I know Nitros would definitely be down. I think SQ is
Well,
in
why
New
don't
York.
we? I mean, we don't have to do it with yeah. So I mean, we don't have to do it with the same people. We can kind of like have it with a new tribe, I guess.
I
It's all
love that
brand new,
idea.
right? Would
Sure.
Dave want to do it with new people?
I think he would totally be down to do it with people.
I mean, because I really do think the great idea that we had talked about the other day with making it a NFT project,
Yeah,
and
I think
then
people would be really
I
into
think we
that.
could fund it all.
That'd be fun. Yeah, let's
Um,
maybe I can get Dave in on a room sometime this
yeah,
week to discuss
or
it.
back channel me and I'll give you my number, and then we can
Oh yeah,
do a Zoom or something like that as well.
sure, that sounds good.
Awesome,
So,
awesome, awesome.
how's your weekend going?
My weekend is great, actually. I am currently building my mom's collection on OpenSea. It's
Oh,
she's been watching me like working in this zone since January. So she finally, over the break, she was doing a bunch of different, not the break, over, God, I can't believe I called it the break. Over COVID, she was doing, she was basically painting in my house every single day. Like, I wouldn't let her out. I told her,
oh,
whatever groceries she needed, we would get. But, we were locked up. So I just said, listen, make a list of art supplies, whatever you want, whatever you need, we'll get for you. And she's been a professional artist for 50 some odd years, so
amazing.
she went crazy with water Indian ink and made all of these crazy pattern and flower pieces. And she says to me the other day, she goes, can you do this for what you're doing? Like, not even realizing what the words of NFT was. And I said, yeah, we should. And so I got like all the pieces scanned and digitized, and now we've been putting them up, and she's been up on for about 24 hours and
So
selling
cool.
pieces and doing well. And she said to me, she goes, do you think I could pay my rent by doing this? And I said, Mama, hopefully you can pay your rent and buy yourself some nice things. So
I
she's
love
super
that.
excited.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. She's so lucky to have you. That's great.
Yeah, she's mom, you got to take care of mom.
Oh Oh my god, totally. Yeah. It's
Especially
a
she's the reason I'm in fucking art. I mean,
Was she an artist in her younger years as well, or is this like a
yeah,
recent thing?
she's been an artist her entire life. In the early 70s, she was selling paintings to celebrities and all kinds of crazy people. And then when I was born in the early 70s, she basically gave it up to be a homemaker. And she, at the same time, had this. At the same time, the pet rock thing was coming out. She had her own pet rock project, and these guys came to her and said, "Hey, if you can make us 50,000 rocks, you know, we want to make this huge thing," and blah 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 blah. And she was painting every single rock and had teams of people out like getting rocks from like the riverbeds, and it was just like a crazy situation. And she was like, "I can't do that. I have a family. There's no way in hell I can do a factory line." I mean, my parents were also crazy, lazy hippies, but professional lazy hippies, I guess.
Amazing.
So, so they just were like, "No, this seems like way too much work for us," and they gave up the opportunity. So now, later on in life, you know, my dad's gone. My mom lives here in California. She had a brain aneurysm 20 some odd years ago, so I'm now her like legal guardian and help her out and all of this shit. So I have her living in my building and just give her art projects all the time now. You know, it's just like, here, do this, have fun. What do you want to make?
Good,
You
yeah.
know?
That's amazing. She's so lucky to have you, and like, it sounds like, you know, she made such a big sacrifice to care for you, and you're doing the same for her. So like, what a awesome
Yeah.
relationship you guys
I'd hate to
have.
say that it's a quid pro quo, but it's like mom taking care of son, and son's got to make sure that, you know, take care of mom. At the same
Totally.
time, I have to make sure that I take care of myself.
Ain't that the truth? Yes, I'm glad you're aware of that. Some people really aren't. They just kind of like go in and they lose it, you know. So I'm glad that you're at least aware of you also be able to take care of yourself.
It's new. It's fairly new for me. I think for the longest time, I basically lived for everybody else's needs in a lot of ways. And in the past couple of years, I've come to the realization that, you know, I have to really take it and pay attention to myself and pay attention to my needs as well. Otherwise, what I try to do and help for other people really would fall apart and wouldn't even be there anymore.
Totally, because who's gonna? How are you gonna take care of them if you're not taking care of yourself? You know.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, well, thank
Well,
you for
that's
letting me
cool.
talk
So
about
I
that
want to
for a second.
see. Yeah, I want to see the project. I'm like in the car right now, so I can't look at it
Yeah.
at the moment. But I would love to see it. I was just
Um,
talking in like back channeling with like Phil and some friends, and I'm like ready to finally start an OpenSea account. I've been like on the sidelines doing all of this for
it gets manically addictive. I'll
obviously
say that.
the last several months.
Ali, it gets
I
manically
know
addictive. It's
that's
kind of
why
crazy.
I've kind of held back a little bit because I know that,
But the thing is, I mean, there's
well,
so
I
much
love
value.
collecting things
There,
too, so I know.
we may have lost you.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm
Oh,
here.
oh, okay. No, no. I was just saying there's so much value in a lot of the plays that, I mean, not to do it for money, but to do it for other NFTs. If you're flipping for other art, you know, there's fun little plays that you could do here and there.
Totally. Actually, Dave was just on the phone with, I don't know if you're familiar with this artist, but his name is Ata Bozachi. He's out of Switzerland. His graffiti name was Toast. He's a
Okay.
super talented artist. Lived in San Diego for some time. That's why he and Dave are close. So they,
Is it Toph One?
I don't know if he writes Toast One. I think it's just Toast.
Okay.
But he's pretty well known in like the graffiti scene. You know, it's just he has kind of like stopped practicing graffiti and been more taking the route of like fine art
Mm-hmm.
under his name of Ata Bozachi, and he does these really beautiful like graphic portraits that have like really interesting like line work, and I'll send it to you, but it's really rad. But anyway, he was just talking about getting into NFT.
You just entered the Matrix, Ali. Ali, you're in the Matrix. It's probably because you're in the car.
It's part of my card. How I know?
Ali, you were just in the Matrix,
Am
I
I still
think, because
bad?
of the car. Yeah, it's
Oh,
okay. Listen, I'm gonna kill the room. We can walk into something else, but let's talk soon.
sure.
And
Yeah.
let's talk this week because I would love to start to figure out when we can do that. And I'm totally down with Dave picking a new team. I just, if Nichos is in town, I'd love to get him involved. And any
Of
is here
course.
that wants to get involved, that did it first, I would love to give the option to. I'm totally down for somebody new. I just the only thing I have to do before we do that is just call Warren and tell him that we're doing something different and to say thanks a lot for
Right.
letting it ride for so long.
Yeah,
Just
I
to
mean, it's
let
been
him
up
know
for
that I'm taking it down.
totally. Okay.
It's been up
All
since
right. I'll talk to you soon.
2013.
I
Yeah.
know.
All right. Bye,
Crazy.
guys.
Bye.
Jackets or I don't know, like jewelry or something,
So
Yeah,
yeah, we are looking at this, but actually, what we're doing at the moment is looking at different avatar systems, and so from the avatar system would then come the wearables. So we haven't committed to one yet, and I think what we'll do is we'll do some research and then ask some questions of the community before we actually make a decision on which avatar system to use. And I think it's interesting going back to what somebody was saying a few minutes ago about how the metaverses that are all being created will connect together. I think this, we are talking now about trying to be as seamless as possible. So it's sort of understanding about what's open source, what we think is going to last a long time, and that sort of thing. I've already done projects with the Bitmoji team, for example. It's a slightly different concept, but they do now have 3D avatar systems. So we've been working on that side of things in other projects for quite a while, actually. So we already have some knowledge, but I really want to understand like getting the best balance in terms of openness and accessibility. And then once we've been through that sort of research and discovery phase, then we'll put it out to the community and say, hey, we're thinking of going with this. What do you think? And I think that in turn will then have an impact on what kind of wearables could come along.
Awesome, thank you.
Hi, it's Diverse. Hi there. Hi guys. Hi Squirty. Hi guys. Just here to bring
Hey,
flowers.
hey.
UK darling. Just here to bring flowers for this whole project. Love this project. Love what it's about. Love what it represents. I love all these different angles that's been covered. The fact that all these different projects have been allowed into this metaverse, and it just sounds very, very, very exciting. I've signed up for pre-sale. I'm telling everyone about it, and I love it, and I just recommend it to you guys. And I just came here to discuss more about the project, and can't wait for it to come out. Thank you so much. My name's Diverse Female Beatmaker. I'm done talking. One love, almighty bless. London.
London. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if Squirty's avatar is anything of a preview of what's to come, this is going to be absolutely amazing. Like that's just beautiful.
Thank you.
Just a
So for
little
those who may
lava
have
leak.
noticed,
100%. That's so cool.
Yeah, if I could just explain that little bit right there. So that's the corner lip curl of a. I don't know what the type of the frog is. I don't know if it's in a category yet, but it was painted by Bugs, which is a blue and light blue map. Then it went through an 8-bit algorithm, which converted it all to 8-bit, then multiplied in kind of a specular glow, and then multiplied on top of that Dee Dee's frog texture. And that will constitute what skin looks like, for example. Oh, and then there's the underbelly, which, of course, is a part of each expression, has a unique underbelly, but it's all tied to the, quote, expression.
It's
That's
so
really,
cool.
really amazing. How are we supposed to set up the thing for the pre-sale? I'm sorry, just a minor question because I was away for a minute.
You're okay, Otto. Basically, you go into the Discord, which is frogland.xyz or xyz, and then you get your name, and then you fill out the Google form. Actually, you know what? I can just hop in there and be inside the Discord while we're chatting in here and just help everyone get names. So if you want assistance with that, hop into Discord in the general channel. Just at hip hop, HIPHOP, that's me, and I will assist you in getting your nickname.
All right, I thought that too. Hi everybody. I'm driving though, but yeah, I'm excited by this project. I've listened to the various other NFT channels and nothing kind of grabbed me, but this one definitely did. I think Matt started talking and about an interoperable metaverse thing, and I back channeled you, Matt. But yeah, that excites me if you guys are thinking about like cross metaverse, you know, functionality that there. I think that's very future thinking. But I guess my question is, you know, the, are you thinking of these things as actual three-dimensional avatars? It doesn't sound like you are. It sounds like they're 2D, but because I think the tokenization of these 3D avatars, like Webaverse and some of these other things that are kind of on the horizon, is going to be a big deal. So I'm curious about that, and yeah, I'm just excited for this. Thanks.
Just to speak to the NFTs specifically, they are very much 2D. There is no 3D whatsoever in these, even though they may look 3D in certain places. And that's because, Bugs and I come from a 3D background and know rendering systems like the back of our hand. However, we also know that some projects, we all know, that may live up in the snow, that chose a 3D rendering process, had a real problem when they had to mix in different accessories and so forth at the last minute. So this is built in a way so that we do not hit any rendering bottlenecks in that respect. That's why they're 2D. It does not mean that they won't be 3D in some cases or in someday. And if you're a 3D artist and want to jump in and model and rig one of these frogs, then yeah, reach out to myself or Bugs. It would be cool to have that as an asset in the metaverse. So.
Yeah, the avatars are separate from the profile pictures, right? So these are the kind of the standard iteration that we have right now with other various NFTs, but the intention is to set up a set of templated 3D models that can be used as 3D avatars in the world, and our hope is that those will obviously do a few of them, but we hope that people will customize them on their own and get them to map, maybe map to the actual 2D models that we're creating right now or different things. So the way that they get expressed is probably going to be a little bit different in the metaverse. But the idea behind that is to have a single flexible system that can support any type of NFT coming in and give artists the creativity, the freedom to express their creativity and how the 3D models will actually interact in the world.
Thank you. I understand better. Thanks for all that. Well,
Sure, absolutely.
I have a question for Squirty or Shrimp whenever.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Squirty, appreciate you bringing me up. Hope everybody's having a great afternoon. I know we have people from all around the world in here, so appreciate everybody being in here. Appreciate you letting me ask this question. I myself, some of you know me, or some of you may not. I'm in the NFT space and do a lot of deal making behind the scenes, music, and now getting heavier into the art space and digital. So, my question for Squirty, Shrimp, or whoever can answer this that's on the team on this project, on the metaverse side, when are you guys planning on dropping the metaverse? And on the metaverse, are you going to put in aspects like lily pads and logs and different things that kind of go hand in hand with frogs and kind of create almost like a gamification of sorts where people can buy virtual real estate and buy a lily pad or buy a log and almost like a different version of a word.
So it's a great question, and I can certainly talk some of that. It's funny you mentioned Lilypad, because of course they're notoriously connected to frogs. And so much so that we realized when you do buy a frog, you will get a plot of land in the new Pangea metaverse within Frogland. And in fact, that plot of land is called a lily pad. The pad stands for personal access domain. And if you were to purchase a frog, you get that pad, that lily pad in Frogland. However, if you were to purchase a plot of land in the upcoming land sale in, let's say, Gutterville, the district for the Gutter Cat gang, then you would receive a crash pad. If you were to receive a plot of land, or if you were to purchase a plot of land in the island of Ossius, the Wicked Cranium Tone land, then you would be receiving a grave pad. And so we're certainly having this continuity throughout the whole metaverse, where your pad is effectively your plot of land. Now, I can probably pass over to Dave to discuss a little bit more, to Shrimp and Bugs and the rest of the team as to the gamification. But yes, indeed, there will be elements that you will be able to have inside your space, and we certainly call them pads at the moment.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. Yeah, so we've built a toad map, as Ed has renamed it, which is about 12 months. But over that time, within a couple of months, we want to roll out a simple sort of demo of what we think, particularly the Frogland space, will be like. So we're designing and building this in Unity, and for two different points of entry, really. One is a very, very light WebGL version, which is what a number of metaverses are built in, but also a client-side VR, high-end VR version. And so we're doing that from the beginning. So although the WebGL version will come out first, we know that we're building the VR version as well. And then as we progress through the roadmap, we'll start bringing in sort of multiplayer. We'll have a closed alpha build that we can share with some people, and then we'll start opening it up. Over the coming months, we'll actually have the metaverse available for people to go in and get hold of their plot of land and start sharing it with their friends and so on. So yeah, we've been building up the roadmap, and we're just sort of waiting to get started. Really, we've started research on a number of different aspects, from what kind of graphics files we'd like to import, to what kind of avatars we want to use. We're also looking at the gamification side, so we will have some mini games in there, whether that's sort of some very familiar ones like playing cards, but also incorporating some of the narrative. I think we were talking about this earlier. So some of the narrative will live outside the metaverse, but we can have some fun experiences within it. And we're also looking at whether or not we can have some kind of competitions between players and so on, and possibly even some frog fighting. We'll see about that. But as we progress, we're going to be very open with the community, and we'll share artwork and demos and development videos of what's happening. And we'll also ask the community what would you like, what kind of card games would you like, for example, and we'll sort of take a vote, or we'll put a couple of ideas out there and see which one's the most popular. So that's how we plan to sort of develop it in a very open way, and really guided by the community and what the community wants.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really cool. As we sit here and talk, I don't know if obviously we have gamers in here and video game enthusiasts, right? I'm an 80s baby myself, and I remember many decades ago, time flies, where you remember the game Frogger on PlayStation?
Oh, I remember it. Yeah.
Jumping lily pad to lily pad and lily pads to logs and all those different things. So any way I can be of assistance, or definitely keep in touch with you guys. I'm more Instagram based. I'm on Discord as well, but mostly on IG. I would love to keep in contact.
We're getting old, guys. We had Ataris.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I remember.
I know, right?
No, that's just a badge of honor.
Hey, I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, indeed.
All right, 1 second. There's a little bit of an echo. First of all, I'd like to say you guys are amazing. I've been in a few of these different rooms. I've been listening to everybody's projects. I'm actually a solo artist myself. I'm also into music, but I've been in the NFT space for a few months now, and I've actually got my own collections myself. I would love to connect with you guys, specifically on Twitter. I know there's a big NFT community that I'm seeing as I'm on here. I just set up my Twitter and connected to my Clubhouse, so you guys can please follow me on there, and I can follow back, connect, and hopefully get some retweets on some of my art. But again, I love all the art that I see, especially Don Love. Whose collection is that, by the way?
Oh, at the moment I'm actually wearing my
Oni Force, one of the Oni Force that I got. Are you familiar with the project?
I am not. Can you please update me?
Is
Uh,
Crypto
uh,
Spaces still in here? He was one of the devs.
yeah. I don't see him anymore. I think he must have dropped off. But if you check them out, Oni spelt with 0N1. So if you go to onlyforce.com, so 0N1 force.com, you can see a bit about the project there, and they're also on OpenSea. So that's a generative series of 7,777. And they're good friends. A lot of the team there, we know them very well and have worked with them before on other things.
Can you spell that out for me real quick?
Zero, as in the number,
No,
N,
no, the name of the I'm sorry. Can you say that one more time? You kind of broke up.
oh, 0N1
Okay.
force.com.
0.
And yeah, so if you look at the 0 as an O and the 1 as an I, it's Oni Force.
Okay, and then it's on OpenSea as well.
Yeah. Just be careful that you, if you go to OpenSea, that you're dealing with the verified collection, because it was a very successful project, still is a very successful project, and so there are a lot of scams trying to get people to buy replicas.
Oh man, they're already doing that. I hate that.
So, Johnny, I've just sent you a back channel message so that you will be able to check that out directly.
You sent. Where'd you send it to? What?
I
So
did
you should
too.
see on the bottom right hand corner of your screen, you should be a little paper aeroplane looking thing. If you tap on that, you should see a message request from myself, and that should give you the link.
I don't see it yet, but I should see it shortly.
Awesome. Well, then, if I may, we'll probably have a quick room reset. We have the majority of the founding team of Frogland. The Notorious Frogs of Frogland is an upcoming generative sale of 10,000 frogs, similar to some of the ones you can see in the PTRs on the screen. We're using the funds generated from the sale to develop a metaverse that we're calling New Pangea. We've actually partnered with a few of the generative projects, such as the Gutter Cat Gang and the Wiki Craniums. We're connecting their artists with Dave's team, who is a world-class game developer, and we've been designing districts within this shared space in line with the aesthetics of those partner projects. So the idea had stemmed from a decade of being in the XR space, developing hardware, talking about metaverses with people like the founder of Oculus and the chap who wrote Ready Player One before it was even a movie. And we've been watching the space evolve. And given the breakneck speed that NFTs have started moving in, we've seen an awesome opportunity to work with the community to build a space that is developed from the ground up for them. And we're using the frogs as a mechanism for people to be able to contribute their input and their thoughts on this development process that's being developed by Dave's team, which is so world class that in fact we were invited on to give a panel to the United Nations about immersive world building tools, NFTs, and Frogland. And so that is something that's going to be coming out, I think, first week of October. And we've been quite excited to be able to start sharing the word about frogs and, of course, NFTs and the future of the space. So for those who are not yet, thank you very much. For those who are not yet in the Frogland website and the Frogland Discord, I would urge you to go to frogland.io. There's a link to the Discord channel in the menu. And once you're in the Discord, you can send a message into Frogland General with your preferred frog nickname. And you can also be directed to a pre-sale whitelist so that you can avoid having to pay any excessive gas fees when we announce the sale. So that's a quick little room reset. Any questions? We have myself, we have Don Love, who's focusing on rarities. We have Didi, who's been on the art side. Bugs, who's been on the art and the narrative. Dave is the game development studio. We have Matt, who focuses on solidity of blockchain. We have Shrimp, who is obviously the legend himself when it comes to creative direction. We have Crypto Wizard, who's helping us on the social media, and we have Jaylee as well, who again is helping us on the social media aspects. And so we have a great team here, and we'd love to field any questions from anyone in the audience.
I got another question for you guys. So there are two projects that you guys have officially announced partnerships with, and that's Wicked Craniums and Gutter Cats. Can you give any hints at current discussions with other projects? And also with these projects, once you reach a total of 10, are these permanent projects that will be in the metaverse, or can they potentially be evicted and a new project move?
So we go for it.
Sure. So we're not going to, unless Squirty wants to contradict me here. So there are other projects that we have in mind, very much, and like in terms of who we want to partner with, and we've started reaching out in some directions, but we're not going to say anything there before any official announcements. In terms of what being a partner means, I mean, it really means joining us in the fun and creating collaborative narrative, and us in the new Pangea metaverse dedicating some land to that project, um, uh, that project proper, as in the project team there, for them to have a community center for their community in a particular district with a set aesthetic. So in terms of blockchain, we wouldn't really be able to revoke that even if we wanted to, because by the time the metaverse is live, and then there are additional that frogs get their free land, community centers land is given out to those partner projects, and there's other lands that are available for sale. That then would be a blockchain asset, which means, I mean, that's not something which we would want to or plan to revoke, and which we would even be able to. Much in the same way somebody can't take your Decentraland or Sandbox land away from you. Yeah. Sorry, does that answer the question, or was there some aspect I missed as well?
No, that was it. That's incredible. I just was curious, like how evolutionary it would be, like in bringing in projects or changing projects around. But I love it. If it's fixed, I think that's going to make everything that much more.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. And we certainly are going to be bringing other projects in over time, and it's really about timing and narrative around that, and identifying the projects that we want to work with and who want to work with us. And as we hit milestones and build out more, hopefully people will see and enjoy the success here, and we may then at that point have a more open community discussion as to, hey, these projects are wanting to get involved, who should we tend to first, in an official capacity. There's down the road, hopefully we could get to that kind of a operation.
Yeah, and just to add to that too, there's nothing to say that we can't add more mixed use districts. So we're gonna be launching with the art district specifically, which is not designed in the specific aesthetic of a PFP project. So there's nothing to say that we can't add more spaces like that down the line if that's the direction that the project ends up going.
That's why it's so exciting to be in this space right now. Like the universe, we're still, or the metaverse, we're still creating it. This is still the beginning of this whole entire revolution in the art space. So we appreciate your guys' questions and your feedback, because we literally have, the power together to create as we go. So it's exciting. Like the possibilities are limitless. Out here, there is no ceiling, but the floor rises every day. I say that a lot, but I mean, it's true. It's true.
I like
If you
that.
can imagine it, all you have to do is ask yourself, how can I create what I'm imagining? And so that's why we are having this room with you guys, and that's why we are reaching out to our NFT community, because we really do value all that you guys bring into the space. And we do want to make this something that everyone will enjoy. We want to have fun with you guys. We want to build morale, and we want to have a fucking party in the metaverse. I mean, who doesn't? It's going to be so fun, you guys. So thank you so much for coming in and asking questions and giving us the opportunity to, share with you our thoughts and what we've been working on. And we're very excited to get started. So just thank you for coming today.
Jaylee, when did you become part of the project?
um, I'm
No
just here
comment.
to share the love, man. I just love it very much, and I want all of my amazing friends in the space to know about it. So, yeah, I just hopped on and wanted to share. I don't know.
JD's being
I don't
very
really know how to answer
modest.
that question.
JD and Crypto Wizard and Tay were some of the first people we reached out to help us start spreading the word of Frog far and wide. So yeah, they're tremendous members of the community. And again, this space has been designed from the ground up with the community in mind. We see a lot of spaces out there, a lot of existing metaverses that sell themselves on a scarcity of a plot of land. And then as and when these companies need to develop further, they either have to make the choice of going down institutional investment, which dilutes themselves, their vision and their plan, or they need to create more land. Now, for the existing users, there's no reason for them to want them to create more land. It reduces the value of their land, in fact. So why would they? Now, this is where I think it's so important to start building on narrative, and especially when you can have this co-creation of the narrative with some of these incredible people of the community who are really, they know their stuff. So this idea of effectively being able to expand out the metaverse and to be able to introduce additional land sales that are focused on specific projects selected by the community that dials in and adds on to extra narrative. I see this as free, almost like DLC in a video game. You're effectively building out the narrative, and that doesn't cost the user anything. All it does is it continues to grow the community and grow the space. And given the rate this space is advancing, I see that we are in a position to be able to continue to develop and continue to innovate in some incredible ways where the community will absolutely adore what is happening. And it's giving them somewhere not only to have a home for their PFP projects, but a game, a bit of fun and entertainment in a really engaging way that we haven't seen in any existing metaverse to date.
If you guys haven't noticed Squirty's PTR, I would definitely take a close-up look at that. I mean, just the artwork alone is so incredible. Like, I'm floored. It's amazing.
I already enjoy it, and even it hasn't launched.
Exactly.
Same here.
Me too. You guys, I'm so excited. And the music too. Like, that's my, like, one of my favorite parts. Like, the music. The art and the music. I'm in it for all of that. Oh, I love it.
And in fact, if you want to do a lot of PTR, you can see another snippet of one of the eyes that we have on one of the frogs, just to show you some of the awesome detail that's going into every pixel. It is pixel perfect, in my opinion.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Isn't it just gorgeous? It's
Well,
gorgeous.
not yet, but you know, I'll take your word for that one.
Any more
Hey,
questions, you guys?
can I add something really quick for the team and the mods and for you, Jaylee?
Of course.
So we always see Squirty and Crypto, right? And we see Dee with the frogs. But I think it's important to just say thank you to Don and Matt and Bugs and Shrimp and everybody else in the room and Jaylee in the background. I think there's a lot of people that you don't get to see that are working probably 23 hours a day to try to make this happen. So it's really apropos that we say thank you to everybody, even the people that we don't see, and just let them know that we're here for them and we got support and love for you guys. Because there's so many people that aren't in Clubhouse right now that are probably a part of this project, and the unsung heroes that are coding and typing and drawing and animating like all day long to make this happen. So thank you all. We really appreciate it. It's an amazing project, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and welcome to the
Yeah.
Frog family.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks,
that so much.
Rich.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
and welcome to the
it's
pod.
fascinating.
Appreciate you. We
Yeah.
appreciate you all.
Yeah, he's not wrong. There's so much love and care that
I
has
I
gone into
just
this.
say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I
Oh,
spoke over you. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, Shrimp. You're good.
Oh, you know, I've worked on probably a dozen feature films, Star Wars, Transformers, Disney animated films. But this NFT space is a complete game changer from the aspect of a digital artist, and we've been hearing it for months and months now. Um, how NFTs are changing the lives of artists, and you know, this one has changed my life. This project and Rare Pizzas. I mean, it's built a community. It's built an entire new identity. In fact, one of my best friends, their Bugs, right above me, now calls me Shrimp. It's really weird. And we've been working very closely, probably for the last 4 years, with 6-hour phone calls between the two of us, almost on a daily basis, on a number of other projects that will someday see the blockchain. But this space really expands that to a point where we can speak directly to the community, hear the community's feedback, and really leverage that to make the best work possible. It's very different when you're working for Bob Zemeckis or George Lucas and they point at a screen and you know you hop and jump and do their vision. This is upside down where
we take feedback and can have a discussion with the same people that are the investors in our work and ourselves as a team. And that's really why I am putting in probably 18-hour days, no joke, in this, because yeah, it's what I love doing, and I love getting up in the morning and thinking about it when I go to bed. And I just hope this all, you know, this all builds a community that can be bigger than any one particular.
I have a question. What are the levels in Discord? Like level 1, 2, someone is already up to 12 or 13. This is Froggy AF, by the way.
I love that. It's just your activity, like how active you are in the Discord. So the bot automatically will, get like bring you up to different levels. So just be active. Be active AF.
Cool,
We can neither
thanks.
Hi
You guys are
confirm
everyone.
nor
awesome.
deny
So
what those ranks may or may not do later on.
guys, I just joined
Brilliant.
and I'm looking at the website, but I don't find anywhere when is the launch gonna happen. I don't see.
Yet. So long as you have entered the Discord and you have a nickname and you have filled in the Google form, that's the only thing you need to think about right now.
All
We'll
right.
announce the sale soon, but this is to whitelist people for a pre-sale so they don't have to worry about gas wars.
Hey
That's a
guys,
very
this is
nice, a nice
Is
way to
gas
say there is not a date yet, but it is soon.
is Gas Wars a hint at another series you're working on? Gas War.
Oh
Make a
wow,
great TV show.
that's
Yeah, we wanted to launch by the end of this month, but if you look at Squirty's PTR, you'll see how much dedication and care has been put into the art of this project, and that will give you a little bit of an idea why we have not launched just yet. It's just been meticulous and just the love and time that's been put into this. It's definitely going to be worth the wait. So as long as you fill out that Google form in our Discord, you're going to be good. You're going to be on that list, and you're going to be able to get one. So just make sure you do that. You can go to frogland.xyz, and that will take you directly to the Discord. And if you need any assistance with claiming your name or finding the Google form, please at hip hop or at, any of us really, and we'll assist you with that.
I'll even say this. Many of you may not know, but we were supposed to launch this weekend, from the standpoint of the original, when I was brought on, which was June. We had built out the entire system. We had painted, I don't know how many, 150 some odd traits. We had it all working, and we were ready to hit the go button, but it just wasn't resonating with every single person that we showed it to. And I'll take the blame on this, but I, we had to hit the pause button and make it right, because we couldn't just launch, even though there's always a risk. What's going to happen to the NFT market? But to me, it comes down to the art and the traits and the longevity of the project. And with what was happening to some of the other frog projects, we really made the tough decision of like, all right, let's really make this our own. And that is why we're not having a launch hop party right now, and that's why we're having a pre-sale party right now. It's because that's the level of detail that we're going into on this.
Wait, pre-sales are up?
No, I
No,
mean, this is getting onto the Discord will get you into that pre-sale aspect. We have not.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, okay. That's why I missed it, 'cause I'm on the Discord and I'm working on my project that's supposed to be launching soon. But I might have to hit the pause button too, but hopefully not.
well, we didn't hit the pause button. We hit the hot pause button on launching, but what we did do was double down on creative intent and narrative integration, because the two were not completely aligned, and that to me meant that we still needed some work on our end to really deliver a quality product.
This is
We're also
May.
using this opportunity to now be able to start onboarding people out of the whitelist. Given that we have a few more days ahead of us now, we're looking into what we can do to negate gas wars for as much of the community as possible.
I have a
We've
question
seen
about
what's
that.
happened with. Yeah, go for it.
So I probably should know this answer, but I don't because I'm ignorant. But how do you avoid the high gas prices by the pre-sale? I mean, is it going to be mintless or gasless minting, or how's?
No, I can answer that. So there's still gas associated with minting, and there's still the the gas price will be whatever it is on the Ethereum network at the time. But if we get the whitelist, say that there's 3,000 people and who've given us their Ethereum address for whitelist, and who we've authorized for whitelist, and say they're each allocated to mint up to 2 frogs. We haven't determined an actual number, but then that's less than the 10,000 frogs that are going to be available. And so say that is open for 2 days before public sale starts. That means all of those people know, okay, I can wait over those 2 days for the time when gas is best. I don't have to worry about the project selling out and if I'm going to even get one. And typically in a lot of the popular projects, you see that the gas spikes so much as soon as the sale opens because there are whales who are using bots to submit a whole bunch of transactions at extremely high gas to ensure that they can get in there first, and they're almost locking other people out because they're just paying so much in gas, and then that's when you get somebody who's minted 1,000, for instance. So yeah, that's why the whitelist kind of avoids that. It avoids the project itself spiking gas on the Ethereum network during the launch. However, people will still be subject to whatever gas is at the time when they mint. They just aren't under pressure to do it at that exact second. They can choose whenever the 2 days looks like an optimal time for them.
This is Charmaine.
Also,
I
like,
wanted to, oh, I wanted to say that for anyone kind of wondering, I particularly am not, very comfortable with Discord and have gone to so many of the different projects. So far, my experience has been I felt the most welcome. It's been the friendliest community and the most seamless experience for me so far. I just love that. I feel like also the way in which the whitelist is being done is so equitable and again, very community oriented and community centered. So I just wanted to give a huge shout out for that because I've been here for a while. I have a ton of different collectibles, and increasingly it's just getting so hard to stay on top of things, and the amount of love and care and the friendliness of the community just goes a lot to show what this project is going to be about. I'm really, really excited.
I
Also,
So much for me.
second that.
another way to
I
avoid
really agree.
gas is to go to txstreet.com. I believe it's TX Street. Let me double check. And then it will show you, it will visualize people getting into trains, cars, or the trains, and the it will show you how many gwei each car has, and it'll let you go down so you can figure out how much the gwei is going to be, and it'll tell you what to type into MetaMask to get a lower amount than what is currently going. And it'll show you a low fee line where if you go below that, that will be a problem for you possibly. So you can get the lowest amount without risking too much. It's really cool. txstreet.com.
Thank you very much, Zudas. It's awesome information as always. You're a fountain of knowledge.
I also happen to love that they look like South Park characters. I think that's hilarious.
Wait.
Hey guys, this is Chris, about 2/3 of the way down with the punk. I registered, I guess, this past week for the whitelist, and without really paying attention, I registered as the Notorious FRG. And I'm curious, can you talk a little bit more about? I think I heard you mention that something to do with your nickname will have something to do with how your frogs get minted. Did I mishear that, or can you elaborate on that at all?
Yes, you did mishear that. The naming aspect is a fun and a community build-up, gives us a little bit of a persona in this upcoming new Pangea metaverse, but would not affect the minting. So if you had a name, if you even wanted to change a name, if you shoot a message to any one of the moderators, I'm sure we can help you with that.
All right, so I'm
Yeah.
not going to automatically be a boss by being notorious.
It would be nice, but in my opinion, all frogs are equal in this world, in this new Pangea. Frog recognized frog. So yeah, it's a random effect, and I'm sure Matt or Daniel could talk a little more to that.
Whenever we go live, my name's
I have a
Total
question.
Chaos.
I love it. So there's a question somewhere, I think.
Hey, yes, Squirty, I have a question.
Go for it.
Yeah, Kwame.
How's it
Yeah.
going, dude?
How do I see my nickname?
So if you send a message into Frogland
Can you hear
General
me?
with your preferred nickname, then we'll just change it for you.
Or if you just at me, I am in the Discord right now
Okay,
taking
gotcha.
orders basically. Just at me in the general and I will give you your name. I'm doing it right now for everybody.
Okay.
Just at hip hop. HIPHOP. I'm in there right now.
She's helping everybody do
Okay.
nicknames, but if you swipe right and hit the top 3 little buttons, there's a bar that says change nickname. You can do it yourself.
So just a quick room reset. I do have a few
I've
new
got a
faces here.
question.
Oh, go for it.
I was going to say,
No?
so buy frog, get land. Are the two at a later date? Let's say if you have a couple frogs and you get the land you get with each of them, and you sell one of your frogs on OpenSea, do you lose your land, or does it attach to it, or can you separately sell your land or buy more land? Or
So I'd love to hear from the community, but in my opinion, frogs and land should be tied together, just to ensure you're not going to get any scams or anything of people selling frogs under the pretense there may be land attached and they're not being land attached. So this is my thought. But again, it's really, we look forward to working with the community to find out what they feel would be most palatable for everyone. So again, maybe Matt or Daniel could talk a little more on that.
Sorry, I missed the question.
I said,
Are frogs tied to
you,
land?
yeah, they tied to land.
Well, so we're still working out the mechanism with which that distribution is going to happen, but the way that each of the districts are set up, there's going to be a community center that is public space effectively, and then the private land will surround that public space. And the intention here is to have kind of a community organizing effect in the middle. And some of that land, people are going to ascribe different values to each individual plot. So the only way I think that we can distribute it fairly is to do it in a randomized fashion. And we haven't quite determined exactly what mechanism we're going to use to do that. We've talked about a couple of different things, but it's still in the works. And whatever we do come up with, we'll socialize amongst the community and make sure everyone is comfortable with it well ahead of time before we pull the trigger.
So could other projects that come in, let's say, maybe not even the Gutter Cat Gang or anyone like anyone else that comes on later that wants to buy land separately, will there also be a secondary market for that land, or is it always going to be?
Yeah, so the land will just be standard NFTs like everything else, and the frog district is going to be very specific because having a frog is going to guarantee you a piece of land. But with the partner districts, having one of the NFT avatars for one of the partner districts will guarantee you a spot on the pre-sale. But once that opens up to general sale, anyone will be able to purchase. And the idea here is that we want the PFP projects, the partner projects like the Gutter Cats and the Wicked Craniums to want to build their own community in this space, but we want there to be some commingling amongst other different projects and people, and we don't want to be exclusionary, but we do want to create nexuses for those individual communities to be able to hang out and create their own space.
Cool, thanks.
Sure, absolutely. I have to sign off in a minute, guys. Do you guys have any other questions specifically for me?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to too. I'm gonna get my car towed if I'm not careful.
Brilliant. Gotta love the frog puns. Well, no, gentlemen, I've got to say thank you ever so much. I know we've had a good couple of hours on Clubhouse. I'm happy to remain and continue discussions, but I know we have a lot on. So by all means, please crack on with what you need to. Croak on with what you need to, I should be saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna bow out to get back to this work, and just like Shrimp said earlier, yeah,
this is the hardest I've worked on a production project for quite a while, but it's also I've ever had production environment. So really happy for it. Thanks so much, and look forward to having more conversations with you, hearing how it's going. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. This is so much fun, you guys. I'm so excited.
Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure. And just to reiterate what they said, it's incredible working on such a high stress project like anything as you're about to launch. It's not easy. And again, I've come from a decade of doing this time and time again. Yet on these calls, even as little as a few hours ago, we're still there just absolutely cracking up in hysterics with some of the things that we're reading, some of the things that we're seeing. And I've never before been in any working environment that everything is just so fun and enjoyable. Even now, where things are so close to launch and everything is all just so crazy, it's still just a fun thing to work on. And I've never seen that before.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm going through that right now.
It's just so much fun. Again, I love this. I mean, how boring are non-NFT people now? Didi pointed it out, and just like, my God, I go out and I meet non-NFT people. I'm like, fuck me. These people, they're so slow. What are you talking about? What?
It's like,
Dude, I've not watched TV. I've not played any game. I was a huge gamer. I live and breathe gaming, but since NFTs, this is everything. This is life now. This is my
The
life.
most fun you can have with webbed feet.
Fucking A. Gotta love those sticky fingers.
Okay. Hey guys, I'm gonna sign out now as well.
Thank you, Dave.
9 p.m. on a Sunday night bank holiday in the UK. I want to reiterate before I go what Ed was just saying. It's an amazing project. I'm so honoured and really, really pleased that he got in touch with me and asked me to be a part of it, because I've already learned so much and I've already met so many nice people, and it's great to be building the future like this with webbed feet. So I will say goodbye as well. Thank you very much, and yeah, look forward to seeing everybody in the metaverse.
Thank you very much, Dave.
Ribbit.
Love you.
Ribbit. Hop, hop. Croak, croak.
Hopping man.
Them's fighting words.
Those be frogging words.
Yo, we should all
have to
get
make
one
sure
of
there are
those.
no tadpoles in this group. This is a mature audience, just frogs and toads. No tadpoles.
Hey guys.
No underage news.
Can I just remind you all, if you're adding me and you're wanting a nickname, just include your nickname in that when you message or in the general. Just comment. Just say @hiphop and then put the name that you want to be changed to, and I got you. Okay. There's a little bit of confusion in the Discord, so just wanted to make that clear for everybody. And then when you comment again after I say got you, you'll see that your name has been updated to what you said. As long as it's available, I got you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jaylee. So, any other questions about Frogland, the metaverse, or just NFTs in general? We have an awesome collection of people here. There's going to be a lot of insider knowledge available.
I have
Not just about Frogland. Go for it.
So I write for a newsletter. Is there somebody? Could you maybe send me an email address of somebody I can get in contact with to maybe ask a couple of questions?
Absolutely. I'll send you an email address in the back channel of Clubhouse now.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, other than frogs, does anyone have any interesting drops they're looking forward to?
I got one for you, man.
Can I go after him? This is Andrew.
Man, lay it on us. Come on.
Go for it, dude.
All right, my first one is it's not really a drop. It's more just to kind of fill you guys in. The first I'm part of the XRP Army, a proud member. Thank you. But on the XRP ledger, somebody just bought the first NFT ever made on the ledger there, and his name you can find him at HADA NFT at HADA NFT. He's he's been part of the Ripple and XRP community for a long time. But anyway, something's going on with that. It was called, I believe it was called Young Bots or something. I can't even remember now, but you can find him on Twitter, you guys. Check it out. I know you guys collect NFTs and stuff. So HADA NFT at had a NFT, and that's about it. Appreciate all you guys' time, and I'm so stoked to have been blessed to hop into this clubhouse. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Kryptonite. And just to add to that, you may like to know that I very nearly set up the first Ripple exchange in the UK back in, crikey, I forget what it was. I was talking to Chris Larson quite some time ago. We very nearly did it before I realized that VR was my passion, in fact, and a hell of a lot more fun in the game development space. I think that was about 2013, quite some time ago.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. We have our work cut out for us, but it's getting better day by day.
And if it's easy, everyone would be doing it. And that's why we've got a select group of very cool people doing some very cool things.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I'm working on.
I think there's another question somewhere. Did someone want to follow up with that?
Yeah, go for it. If anybody wanted to follow up.
I wanted to ask 2 questions. Well, 2 questions. 1 question and a statement. Is Jay Lee being paid in frogs?
I would. I think that's something that's up to Daly to say. I would not want to put any words in her mouth.
Okay. And the statement is, I'm working my butt off on my drop that should be on Thursday for Pooptopia.
Nice. Do you have something we can on your pinned tweet that we can retweet and show some love?
Yep, I do.
Wonderful. Well, let me hop on now and give you some retweet action.
Thank you
Who
so
was that
much.
speaking? Who?
This is
Zudis. Cool. I'm gonna give you a retweet. Pooptopia, real nice there. Good stuff.
Thank you, Andrew.
Hell yeah.
What's it called again, Zudis?
Go ahead, Zudis.
That's all.
It's actually Zudis' pinned tweet on his profile, so you could tap on his Clubhouse image, click on the Twitter link, and that will take you directly to the Twitter page. And the pinned tweet is the one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zudis, and I'm looking forward to Thursday. Let me know if I can help in any shape or form.
Yeah, I back-channeled you about help.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah,
sweet stuff, Zudis. Pooptopia. That's cool. So this is Andrew. I'm not sure if anybody's heard about it, but running this project called NFTs for Saving Afghans. You can go to nftsforafghans.org, or it's in my link tree as well, or my pinned tweet, whatever you prefer. It's all over the place. So NFTs for Saving Afghans started it 2 Wednesdays ago. Bought this website after seeing what's going on in Kabul and the plane, and 2 guys falling off of it and one getting crushed by landing gear. But yeah, started this website, put a forum on it, and 40 artists from all around the world signed up. NFT artists. We're 40% sold out of our pieces, and where the money goes, they're each listed at 0.1 ETH. But where the money goes is to this organization called No One Left Behind, and it's founded by U.S. veterans who served in Afghanistan, and they had the translators, the Afghan interpreters, providing them valuable information and saving many lives. So these soldiers are essentially trying to repay the debt that is owed to them and resettle these Afghan interpreters in the United States. We went live on Monday with our pieces, and we've we've raised just over $5,000. And we have a room tonight at 7 p.m. with this photographer, National Geographic photographer named Mike Yamashita. He has these photos in Afghanistan, and he's contributed 10 of them. So he's a huge deal. He's like 1.8 million followers on Instagram, award-winning guy, and we have listed his 10 photos of him in Afghanistan. Not of him, but that he took in Afghanistan. Beautiful, beautiful photos. With a reserve price of 1 ETH, and then the minimum bid right now is 0.999 ETH. So if all of his pieces were to sell, that would be $30,000 roughly. And if all of our remaining pieces sell, we'll have raised $12,000 from our existing efforts. So potentially $42,000. So if anybody wants to retweet my pin tweet, come to the room at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, ask me questions on the back channel, or inquire about the wait list, because we're basically at capacity, but might open it back up once we start selling out and picking up the pace a bit more. So yeah, it's really, really cool. It's one of the things that I'll be most proud of for the rest of my life. And there are 7 Genesis artists, it's their first piece, so they'll be able to look back on it and say oh, my first piece was for charity, and for the rest of their lives know that and everything. Yeah. So if anybody has any questions, like I said, shoot me a DM. I would really appreciate it if you could share my pinned tweet and any social media posts that come out. That really does go a long way. So just wanted to mention that and give space back to the room, or if anybody has any questions.
Thank you,
I have
Andy.
a question.
Really useful.
Is it okay, Squirty, that I take a minute
Go for
off?
it. Absolutely.
So I'm the Afghan helping the Afghan interpreters is great, but is anyone doing anything for the LGBTQ plus in Afghanistan who are left there from a fallen democracy with Taliban who will shoot them on the spot if they discover they're gay or anything else?
So there might be another organization that is specifically doing that. I do know that there's another here on Clubhouse actually. There's a woman named Nahid who works with or founded Stand Up for Unity. So you can go to standupforunity.com. And our project is a short-term project, specifically focusing on the Afghan interpreters. They have a focus on Afghan women right now, as far as I'm aware, and they are a long-term project. So they'll switch initiatives. They'll have a different. They have multiple causes that they support. So they're a long-term project, whereas we are just a narrow-focused short-term project. So you might want to reach out to them. Like I said, it's standupforunity.com. We've also been referring people that are like, hey, let me get involved in your project. And I'm like, yeah, unfortunately, it's just waitlist right now, but check out that other project too. So yeah, so JJ Love is also involved with that. And then Nahid, whose last name I cannot remember, but yeah, just wanted to give you that information there, Zudas, because I'm personally not aware of those LGBTQ organizations. They may exist, but I'm not personally aware of them.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. And I'd say, Andrew, if I may, we actually have just opened up a conservation channel inside the Frogland.io Discord. We can rename that to Charitable Efforts, effectively. So if you wanted to pin anything you want to in that conservation channel, we can update that and keep it pinned there so we can spread the word a bit more.
Oh, sweet.
And again, that goes to anyone.
Yes.
Really
If you have any
appreciate
charitable
that would be
efforts, we do have a
wonderful.
channel for it.
Thank you, Squirty. And I just want to say thank you, Andrew, too. I was married to the military for several years. My ex-husband did several deployments, Afghanistan, Iraq, and everything. So I definitely appreciate what you guys are doing. So yeah, we'd be happy to pin that up in our Discord.
Yeah, I'll get on it right now. And then I've always I've been calling my senator, even my state rep, and met with him about veterans issues, but also the interpreters. This organization's been around since 2016, and they're just pissed, just like I am. This should have happened or been happening for a long time. All these administrations haven't done it. It's not just Biden or Trump. It's Obama. It goes all the way back to Bush and everything. So it's really unfortunate, but finally there's a way. NFTs have provided a way where you can actually make a difference. It's just insane. There's nothing else that I can think of where you'd be able to raise money in this way, in the physical space, where what you have to pass a physical item around. I could keep going, but I'm gonna hop into the conservation channel, and I do appreciate you giving me this space.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, and then the room is in NFTs.tips at 7:00 Eastern Daylight Time. So yep.
Nice.
Shout out Glassy.
Nice. So quick room reset. I see there's a few more faces in the room. So this is a Frogland.io announcement, I suppose, or well, it was a Q&A for the past few hours. Some of the team have gotten back to the grind, but we still have some members here at the moment. For those that don't know, Frogland.io is a generative project that was recently discussed at the United Nations, focusing on building a new metaverse in a collaborative fashion. We're working with a AAA game development studio, the management team from a former AAA development studio who have spun out an indie game studio and built some very, very impressive content in their careers. The notion of Frogland is build a metaverse funded by the sale of the frogs, and work with partners to design districts in line with their aesthetics. So our first two partner districts after the Frogland sale are the Gutter Cat Gang in the Gutterville and the island of Osius, which is the homeland to the Wicked Craniums. We have some incredible talent working on the narrative. We have some ex-Disney and ex-LucasArts individuals who've been working on both the artwork and the storyline that brings these communities together and builds in a gamified narrative. The frogs themselves are a 1920s, 1930s sort of frog noir, film noir take on gangster frogs, and they are notorious. And in fact, as you jump into the Discord, which you can get to from frogland.io, there's a link directly into the Discord server from there. We can give you your notorious frog nickname, and you can sign up for a pre-sale list. So you can whitelist your address, and you can ensure you don't have to pay any excessive gas fees. So that's a quick room reset. But if anyone had any questions, or if anyone had any projects that they're keeping an eye on, I would love to hear from you.
Hello. Hi, my name is Dong Lee. I have a question about your the metaverse that you're building in. Are you guys open to like new accepting applications or something for like new projects instead? I'm sure that you guys have rooms for like other games and already kind of really successful projects, but I was wondering because I'm also working on the Space Inmates that's going to soon launch soon, and I was hoping if it's like something that we could also live on that metaverse. So I was wondering if you guys are open to like new projects as well.
We certainly are. I will add the caveat that at this immediate time, we have our founding partners, and that is certainly enough that's going to keep us very busy building this metaverse. However, we will put it to community vote as to the new communities that we're going to bring into this space. And so we do have an ideas channel within the Frogland Discord. And so what I'd ask is if you could put a link to the project. This is something we can discuss with the community as and when we get to the next partner integration discussions.
Thank you so much. I'll be sure to join the Discord. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question, if you guys don't mind. It's actually not regarding your project, but I guess just like minting in the whole, if you don't mind me asking.
Absolutely, go for it.
Yeah, so I guess what I was wondering, if any of you guys know exactly, when minting, let's say, a more sought-after project that you expect to basically sell out immediately, is it better off for you to mint, let's say, 10, and so then you're going to be paying more in gas, so it's more likely it'll go through? Or would you just minting 1 be more likely to go through because it's a smaller transaction?
It's really what level you set your gas at. If you set your gas faster than everyone else, your transaction is going to go through. If you're at the back of the line, you're going to be out of luck. Now, this is a big problem in the space, the gas wars, as they're referred to, and this is something that at Frogland we're trying to do our best to mitigate or to negate as much as possible. And so we are now introducing a whitelist. So if you're to jump into the Discord and if you're to jump into to fill out the Google form, then we can take your address and we can sort of register it against the list of approved addresses so that you will have a window in which you can mint. So you don't have to rush and do it at the same time. You've guaranteed your placement. And I think it's a much more fair way of doing it, because ultimately I don't understand why everyone needs to rush and buy all of these things at the same time. These are meant to be community-driven projects, and yet what's happening is the community is having to spend 3, 4, 5x what the artwork costs just to be able to get into that project. And it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it made sense 5 years, well, let's say 2 years ago, when the space was still growing and the gas wars were nowhere near like it is. But to be spending 0.3, 0.4 on a 0.07 NFT is, in my mind, outrageous. I think miners and the network should certainly get their dues. But all things considered, with a little more planning, a little more effort, I see no reason why you can't have waves of whitelisting to enable people to get on board without needing to waste unnecessary ether, simply rushing to get in. And
Yeah.
given that Frogland is this community project, we want to work with that community to onboard people in an organic fashion so that we don't need to run into those same issues we're seeing in a lot of the projects.
So I think Oni Force was a really good example of this. One of the reasons they've been performing so well is not only do they have a very strong engaged community, not only is the artwork really good, but they started off with a very good ratio of project size to number of holders, and they achieved that by using the pre-sale mechanism. And so that's very much something that we're adopting, because that way it rewards people who have interest early, and it means they don't have to, as Squirty said, get involved in gas wars and waste a lot more of their ETH, which goes just to the miners. So then really it means that you don't have that whale sitting there who managed to buy 1,000 and they're immediately loading or offloading 500 or 800 to people who are actually interested in the project at an inflated price. Because that also you want an active secondary market as well. It's healthy for a project, and doing that where there are whales who hold the majority, and so there's maybe only like a 20% ratio. There's again a project of 10,000 people that there's only 2,000 holders. It also means there's a much longer time before the secondary floor might rise, etc. And so you saw on Oni the floor rise very quickly because they had a good distribution. Because on average, people had 2 or 2.5 Oni. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you guys.
So I've got to say it's been quite the morning and now afternoon. If no more questions, I think we could probably go ahead and start wrapping the room up. I see there's a few fascinating rooms we could head over and show a sign of support for. I see the Afro droids about to launch. But yeah, I got to say, unless there are any other questions, I'd say we could probably wrap the show up in the next few minutes.
Thanks, Squirty.
Ribbit.
Wonderful.
Ribbit.
I just want to
So
say
wonderful.
thank you. I just want to say thank you to everyone that spoke and took the time to explain all the little details to us all. It helps and it means a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Hopeful.
Yeah, it's been great to hear a little bit more depth about it all as well. And oh, this dive bunny's now dropped as well. The one that's, if you check my PTR, I just dropped her the other day. So
Nice.
that's my speed. I'm Claire done talking.
Thank you, Claire.
I'm still active in the Discord too, guys. Sorry, I'm bathing my kid, but if you guys are still looking to get your nicknames and whatnot, hop into the Discord at Hip Hop. There's a lot of us in there right now too, currently. So don't.
Yeah, thank you so much, Squirty. This is amazing. Like, I'm just blown away by every single aspect of this project. It's gonna go so big, so far, so fast. I hope everyone's ready to hold on.
Thank you very much. We have a few cool announcements that are under wraps at the moment that I'm quite excited about. So we look forward to revealing those soon. I think people will be pretty impressed.
Great, thank you.
Lovely. And thank you. And guys, on that note, I would like to wish you all a very merry afternoon. And thank you all for your time. I look forward to working with you all building this new Pangea metaverse together.
Ribbit.
Ribbit.
Rabbit,
Ribbit.
rabbit.
So cool.
There
Pew
will be
pew.
flies. There will be flies.
Peace, peace.
All right, guys. 3, 2, 1. Ribbit.
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 Oh gosh, Alpha and Omega. So many fighting with what they want to be, instead of facing I and I reality. Like love and hate, like peace and war. For balance to exist, there must be opposites. I don't wear rose-colored glasses. No, I don't want to be colorblind. For I to love the skin I'm in, accept that which is different. I must have clear vision, I must have good sight. I must have real vision, I must have real eyes. I must must have true sight, so I can realize. Real eyes, real eyes, real eyes, real eyes. I won't sing a song of one love and unity and forget Africa and Africans aren't free yet. Black is the base, white is the echo. Shades of grey resonate, the spectrum only elevates. I won't participate in fantasy and lies. I third, I won't allow it. Too many fought and died. Speaking truth to power, I use our voice, can waste no time. If we're to liberate with freedom, chance and bring alive. Oh, we must have clear vision, we must have good sight. We must have real vision, we must have real eyes. We must have true sight, so we can realize. Real eyes, real eyes. Yes, real eyes, real eyes. We've come to liberate with freedom, chant, rhythm, and dance. I and I elevate when we stand up for truth and rights. We eliminate hate when we honor the past, our story. We don't want to repeat the hypocrisy of history. Stepping into future with intelligence and memory. Living what is real and not delusion, lies, and trickery. Freedom isn't comfortable and freedom isn't nice. Liberty is one with fortitude and sacrifice. Those who speak the truth don't have no company and friends. No love for false modesty, no time to pretend. Once you face reality, now you can make amends. Forgiveness may follow, but we'll never forget, no. When you close your eyes to sleep, blackness is all you see. As vivid as a blue sky, blinding as a white light. Faithful as His majesty, as right as Ross to liberty. If I and I want to be free, then I and I must choose to see with clear eyes. Real eyes, real eyes, real eyes, real eyes, real eyes, real eyes, real eyes. Oh gosh, Alpha and Omega. to be free, then I must choose to see with clear eyes. With real eyes. Real eyes.
Progress, regress. Government a pick up them chest. Progress, regress. One day we go back. Progress, regress. Government a pick up them chest. Progress, regress. One day we go back. It's like taking one step forward and two steps back. The date is long due or you're going to react. Promises are vanished in your teething heart. Excuses, misuses, and chat. Where did the money all go? The ones for the schools, for the farms, for the roads. Everyone was there, but nobody knows. Hide and sequester part of gold. Progress, regress. Government a pick up them chest. Progress, regress. One day we go back. Progress, regress. Government a pick up them chest. Progress, regress. One day we go back. We have been planting the seeds, wanting them to grow, but they steal our land and them tell us to go. Whatever is the reason, brother, I don't know. Enslavement of the mind so they can control us. Only how the government thinks, creating a society, illusions and dreams. Merit based on what you have achieved by corrupting and stealing from the poor and the weak. Progress, regress. Government a pick up them chest. Progress, regress. One day we go back. Progress, regress. Government a pick up them chest. Progress, regress. One day we go back. One day we go back now. One day we go back. Oh, today we go back. Yeah. Progress, regress. Government a pick up them chest. Progress, regress. One day we go back. Progress, regress. Government a pick up them chest. Progress, regress. One day we go back. You keep pulling us back while we try to move forward. Instead of sharing the fruits, you want the whole orchard. Progress, regress. Government a pick up them chest. Progress, regress. One day we go back. Chest.
Life is just for living. Live it right. Celebrate your life in style. Big up she. I remember when them used to cassette and tape it. Technology, them take it up and reshape it.
We're longing for the days, when a change will come. We're longing for the days when a change will come. So much gold, and yet so much more. We're talking about a rise traffic, and it's a wild panic. Oh, the panic can be here tonight. So much gold, and yet so much more. We're talking about a rise traffic, and it's a wild panic. Oh. Agriculture was our strong back in the days. A black shield on the coat of arms, a special place. But over 800 billion of naira importation of rice every year. Neighboring countries are some of the providers, smuggle it in every day. So much gold, and yet so much more. We're talking about the rice traffic, and it's a wild panic. The panic in the air tonight. So much gold, and yet so much more. We're talking about a rice traffic, and it's a wild panic. Oh. They try to implement a new rice policy on different criteria to improve the national self-sufficiency. They imposed quota, but quotas were granted to chosen companies who then sold it to importers, holding for ransom domestic policy. That's what we call the rice mafia. So much gold, and yet so much more. We're talking about a rice traffic, and it's a wild panic. Oh, the panic in the air tonight. So much gold, and yet so much more. We're talking about the rice traffic, and it's a wild panic. Oh. We're longing for the days when a change will come. We're longing for the days when a change will come. So much gold, and yet so much more. We're talking about a rice traffic, and it's a wild panic. Oh, the panic can be here tonight. So much gold, and yet so much more. We're talking about a rice traffic, and it's a wild panic. Oh, 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 oh. I'm rooted and grounded in the love of the Most High. I'm rooted and grounded. Babylon and me taking do all the good you can, in every way you can, and Jaja will give you strength for you to carry on. Do all the good you can, in every way you can, and Rasta will give you strength for you to carry on. He come with the doubts and fear that won't take you nowhere. He come with the doubts and fear that won't take you nowhere. In these times that we're living in, I see the signs from the beginning. Perilous times, are you listening? Babylon, they must go down with their system. Don't waste my time, I got to keep moving. Them and them false doctrine is so confusing. No more of your lives, but pull you from the pilgrim. Forevermore, the fire will be burning. It doesn't matter if they want to criticize. Do all the good you can, in every way you can. A Rasta will give you strength for you to carry on. You got to do the good you can, in every way you can. A Rasta will give you strength for you to carry on. I use LOVE and trample it. If you don't got no love, just get out my face. I just fear confusion you bring in the place. Every day me hear the guns ablaze. When you commit the act, you go on like say you no know. But I know you gonna reap the seed that you sow. But on me you no like, so you and the friend them a plan to come and overthrow. I'm rooted and grounded in the love of the Most High. I'm rooted and grounded. Babylon and me you taking. Do all the good you can, in every way you can. A Rasta man will give you strength for you to carry on. For do the good you can, in every way you can, and Jaja will give you strength for you to carry on. Go do the good you can, in every way you can. Jaja man will give you strength to carry on. Rasta will give you and fear that won't take you nowhere. Come when the doubts and fear that won't take you nowhere. music. Also make the cool of this the roots music, yeah. And this a tune make me good use it. This a roots music, this a the roots music. Also make the cool of this the roots music. The alpha and omega of the roots music, yeah. And this a tune make me good use it. On the banks of the river, I say east meets west. And the bridges cross the river for a welcome guest. The caves you fail to enter hold the treasures that you see. Before you dare to enter them, the blessed are the meek. One song to catch you dancing, watch you dancing off the beat. My faith is in the armor to protect me from defeat. Arranging all the instruments, we them bloody beat. I'm mauling on the victim, seeing the flesh between their teeth. Rustin is at the righteousness, no standing as a tree. And blessed by the waters of the Bandy River Lee. So pretty as the towers with my children on the beach. The realest mama Aita in the valley of the sea. Roots music, this is the roots music. Also make a fool of this, the roots music. Yo, me no so Dublin of the roots music, yo. And listen to no make me good music. This is roots music, this is the roots music. Alpha and Omega of the roots music. Yo, me no so Dublin of the roots music, yo. And listen to no make me good music. I say every time when they touch the roots music. I pray church and let me good music. This is every time when they touch the roots music. I pray church and let me good music. This is every time when they touch the roots music. I pray church and let me good music. This is every time when they touch the roots music. Roots music, this is the roots music. Roots music, this is the roots music. Alpha and Omega of the roots music. Also make the cool of this the roots music, yeah. And this some tune make me good music. This a roots music, this is the roots music. Also make a fool of this the roots music. The Alpha and Omega of the roots music, yeah. And this some tune make me good music. African, them you touch the roots music. Roots music, this up the roots music.